here in Durham, North Carolina. The rain has cleared and we've got a nice night on deck. Looking forward to seeing this ACC matchup between NC State and number 17 Duke. Wallace Wade Stadium is set. Fans going to start piling in shortly, as this will be a great battle between the teams right here in North Carolina. New quarterback for NC State is MJ Morris. We got to see him last week. Threw 4 touchdown passes, had a couple interceptions, but some of those were tip passes. What will he be able to build on from last week? And what is Duke going to be able to do with their quarterback position? This was about a half hour ago.
Do it all,
we saw him out here, but Andrea Adelson just reporting that officially Riley Leonard not playing in this game tonight. You see the ankle wrap there on his right ankle, and we of course saw him go down and was injured on that final play of that Notre Dame game last time they were here. Meanwhile, we're happy to be here again alongside EJ Manuel, Eric McLean, Eddie Royal, and Kelsey Riggs. Great to be with you. Coach Mark Richt is at Florida State. They're celebrating and honoring the 1993 team today, so we send our hellos to him. But guys, let's talk about what we just heard. Officially, no Riley Leonard. That's kind of, I think, what we were all expecting, right? You saw how bad that injury looked. It's great to see him walking out there without a boot for sure. But EJ, as a quarterback, it sounds like it would be Henry Beelan the fourth now. What does he need to be doing and thinking right now as we're about an hour away from the game?
Yeah, well, the key is you want to be aggressive, but you also want to be smart. And of course, you want to come in this game. This is your opportunity. You don't know how many opportunities you'll get, because I'm sure at some point Riley Leonard will be back in the lineup. But I think for a young guy like him, don't turn it over. You come into this game, NC State's defense is going to get in those 6, 7-man fronts, try to fire you up on third down specifically to get that ball out quick. So I would just say, get to your check down. There's nothing wrong punting. There's nothing wrong getting a field goal. Don't force the issue, especially as you get early into the game.
And we spoke to Coach Elko this morning and kind of asked, is the game plan going to be marginally different without him? And he said, not really. Our team is what we are. We run the football first. Graham Barton is back at left tackle. What a massive piece that is, especially running the football. And with a backup quarterback, now you have that extra security blanket out there that makes you feel even more confident. But even these receivers, Eddie, I feel like are so talented. This is a very nice situation for a backup. And by the way, he's had 2 weeks preparing to be the guy.
Yeah, you got a great offensive line, which you alluded to. And then the running game, right? You can hand the ball off, rely on that running game, but those shots down the field, they'll come. Get those guys the ball early in space. Jordan Moore, one of the best with making yak after the catch. Right. Get him the ball. Jalen Calhoun, a big name as well. So don't take too many chances early on. And let that defense help you out as well.
Right.
One of the best defenses in the ACC, so don't take too many chances early.
Something that you actually said earlier, though, you think he might have a stronger arm. So maybe we do see more shots than we have from Duke.
He does have the arm, and it's on, I believe you said it, EJ, it's on the offensive coordinator to put together a great plan for him so where he can mix in those shots, but I feel like you need to get him some early completions, get that confidence going.
Yeah, get his juice going and get him hit too. I mean, whether it's a quarterback design run, because again, as a quarterback, you just want to kind of take that blow first, pop up and say, all right, this is my deal, man, let's go. Go out here and win this football game.
Hey,
you got your
because you big, bro, you 6'5",
yeah, that is true.
He's big too.
He's pretty.
That's true. I brought the funk too, you know what I mean? But of course. I got out of bounds.
That relationship between him and Kevin Johns is definitely going to be important. I'm sure it's been something that they have been working through the last couple of weeks. But as you see on the bottom of your screen, Riley Leonard not playing tonight against NC State. Meanwhile, let's talk about another quarterback who we unfortunately aren't going to get to see play tonight, because he is also one of the top quarterbacks in the country and a favorite in the league. That is Riley Leonard. He is out for tonight's game. Officially, per Andrea Adelson, was waiting to see how he would be. Of course, you saw him take that hit in the Notre Dame game, so looking like it'll be Henry Beelan the fourth who will get the start and the nod for this Duke team. So now let's bring in our sideline reporter Taylor Tannenbaum for more on this. And Taylor, you've talked with coaches, you've talked with coordinators. What can you tell us about this offense and their expectations without Riley Leonard tonight?
Well, Kels, first of all, I can tell you what I saw out here around 6:10 earlier today when Duke came out for early warm-ups. You saw Riley Leonard out here, no boot on that right ankle. Instead, it was wrapped pretty tightly with tape. He was throwing alongside backup quarterback Henry Beelan, but when they went back in and came back out in full pads, Riley was not with the team. So as you mentioned, he is out for the game. He will be sidelined with the team, though. When I spoke to head coach Mike Elko earlier in the week, I asked him, what do you need to see from Riley in order to give him that green light? He said, I need to see him be able to change direction and push off enough to be effective out there, and of course, to protect himself. Clearly, that did not happen. I did just just catch up with Coach Elko a couple of minutes ago on the field. I asked him what was Riley able to do today. He said he tested it. He is much closer, but still not good enough to go. So Riley, once again, will watch for another week from the sideline. As I mentioned, he'll be here with all the quarterbacks alongside Beelan as he makes his first start here tonight. We'll see if he plays for Florida State next week. But as for now, he is out, Kelsey, and we'll wait to see what the future holds with Henry Beelan.
Definitely hopeful to see him at least walking around Taylor without the boot. I know a lot of people very nervous after we saw what happened, but we appreciate that report and that insight as you see Riley Leonard out here not playing in tonight's game, but of course trying to get as healthy as he can for the future. And as she mentioned, the future next up for them is number 4, Florida State next week. But it all starts tonight with NC State. What will Henry Beelan IV be able to do to get this offense going? He's got a couple of running backs that can get them going and a defense that, what did Riley tell us? God is good, but so is our defense.
Right.
We need to see them step up tonight in this one. This game just about 35 minutes away right here on ACC Network.
ACC Huddle is brought to you by Chili's 3 for Me, the best $10.99 you can eat.
Welcome back into the ACC Huddle. You see NC State getting hyped because they are ready for this prime time matchup with number 17 Duke. We'll see what they have in store as we'll see a different quarterback starting for Duke for the first time this season. But our Taylor Tannenbaum caught up with NC State head coach Dave Doran.
Coach, you made a tough quarterback decision last week, but you got something out of your offense, 48 points in the win over Marshall. Heading into this game tonight, what more do you want to see from that unit?
I just like to see all 3 phases playing really good the same night. You know, I think it's been a season that we've been through a lot as a team. It's brought us closer together, getting 48 points on the board at the right time. And our defense and special teams have played well. It's a great opportunity to go out here against a good Duke team, see if we can play 3-phase football.
MJ Morris has now made a handful of starts, but this will be his first on the road. Is there anything else you say to your young quarterback?
Just go play. Just go be you. He's a special kid. He's got great confidence. The team believes in him, and just go out there and do what he's supposed to do.
With all the questions at quarterback for Duke this week, how did you handle the approach defensively for your team?
Yeah, you know, you just got to go out there and execute Tony's game plan. He's going to bring pressure. We're going to have a lot of disguise built in, and whoever's back there is going to have to make decisions post-snap with some angry people chasing them, and hopefully that's enough to get us the win.
Good luck tonight, Coach.
Thanks a lot. Go Pack.
All right, Taylor, thanks so much. EJ, I keep coming to you first because we're talking about all these quarterback things, but MJ Morris got the start last week. We saw him play some last year. How much does this second game in the row really help him with that confidence and taking him to the next level?
It helps a ton. This is the second week now. You've had practice with the ones full-time. You're the starter. You've gone back and watched a full game of yourself, been able to critique and look at the small fine-tuned things that you can fix coming into this game. But I think the key for MJ, too, if you have some things that happen bad again, keep that same mindset coming into this game, because against Marshall, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't a clean start. Even if there was tip balls, that's going to happen in a football game. This is a very good defense. They don't give up a lot of points. So I think the key for him is keep that steadfast mindset going into this game.
And I love the fact that it is the second start, and Robert and Niall know how to game plan for him better as well. During the course of the week, you're talking to the offensive coordinator about things you like, things that you're comfortable with. Another week under that, him and Anai should have a great game plan for tonight.
And I love that he has this great defense that has his back. I mean, I think when you look at these guys, we kind of heard it a little bit right there from Coach Dave Doran. They're going to bring pressure. I mean, when you see defensive coordinator Tony Gibson, he's licking his lips. So is Peyton Wilson saying, let's go. Let's get after these guys. Let's blitz. Let's pressure them. But let's also disguise. So, EJ, I guess flipping it back to Beelan, how do you prepare? Is it different knowing that you have such a unique challenge as this NC State defense?
Yeah, I think you don't want to over-prepare either. You know what I mean? Just let the guy play. The worst thing for a backup is everybody, hey, man, you got to do this. Then you start thinking too much. Just go out here and play football. The first couple of drives may not be pretty, or they might be pretty. And then he has a ton of confidence coming into the game. So I'm sure the coaching staff, they trust in this guy. And as a backup, you always know you're one play away from getting a chance to play anyways. Now's your time to go out there and lead the team.
Well, and with two quarterbacks that don't have as much experience, both of these defenses are excited to see what they could do to try and throw a couple different things out there, confuse them, and that includes this Duke defense led by Dwayne Carter up front. He is such a key part of what they are able to do as we check in with our crew calling the game tonight. Wes Durham, Tim Hasselbeck back in the booth. Guys, we've been talking quarterbacks, but what are your expectations tonight for the defense?
Kelsey, it's always interesting, right? Because we spend all week talking about one side, and then what happens when the game begins? Some other side starts to develop. And it could very well be, Tim, we settle in here and watch two really good defenses go to work.
I think that's the key. Certainly some good quarterback storylines in this football game, but I think it's really about these defenses. On the Duke side, just giving up 11 points per game. That is ridiculous in terms of how well they've played on that side of the ball. R.J. Oben, an experienced guy who's been here, who's definitely been a leader on this defense. They also have Dwayne Carter. Really, I think the strength of their defense is that defensive line. They're big, they're hard to move, but they're also active. And so facing a quarterback who's making his first road start, I think ends up being a big deal. And make no mistake about it, NC State's pretty good as well on that side of the ball.
Well, 44 and 45 are the number of career games for Oben and Dwayne Carter, respectively. And then you go to Tony Gibson at NC State, the 3.35, which you guys were talking about downstairs. And Tony Gibson, from our visit yesterday, is well aware that Henry Beelan was an opportunity tonight, and he's going to have his guys ready with maybe a player you need to know, not just in the ACC, but nationally, in Peyton Wilson.
Yeah, and basically Tony Gibson is naturally aggressive. Now, ratchet it up just even a little bit more playing against a young, inexperienced quarterback. And Peyton Wilson, as you said, Wes, listen, if he had a clean injury history, he'd probably end up being a first-round draft pick in this year's draft. But because of the injury history, there's some unknown. But he is a remarkable player. He plays so hard. You see the size. He's so fast. He's got 70 tackles on this season. And they absolutely love the way he's led, the way he's played hard, the way he basically has just kind of continued on his journey and overcome so much adversity. He's a lot of fun to watch.
Key thing to remember, Kelsey, this is just the 5th time since 2003 that these two schools, 22 miles apart, have played in the regular season.
Wes and Tim, thanks so much. Pretty crazy stat there, and going to be interesting to see what MJ Morris is able to do. As you heard the guys just breaking down the defense, we've seen him have some spectacular moments. Last year, we saw him get off to that 4-touchdown start last week, but a couple of mistakes on his part as well, and some of his wide receivers maybe as well. What does this team, Eddie, need to do to help him out early in this game?
Run the ball. Michael Allen's got to have a day. I mean, when you lose Brennan Armstrong, you lose your leading rusher as well. So they got to find a way to run the ball, to take pressure off him. That Duke secondary is one of the best in the ACC. And that defensive line, if you're dropping back to throw the ball, they can get after you as well. So having a balanced attack is going to be a key.
You've been saying run the ball too much today to be a wide receiver. I don't know how I feel about it.
It was raining. I'm thinking about dropping the ball. I'm like, let's just run it.
I need to see these receivers continue to play at a high level, get separation, make the big-time plays. I mean, we saw Concepcion really break out, continue to break out. And we saw Trent Penix. I mean, a guy that had been virtually non-existent in the offense, pretty much score on the same play twice from 50 and 60 yards out. So how can they continue to be creative? I thought what you said earlier about what do I like talking to your offensive coordinator if I'm MJ Morris, and now that second game, we should see a really confident guy going out here, but it's not to say that this Duke defense isn't elite as well. It's going to be a tough battle, no question.
For MJ, the NC State defense has to be really good too. I keep losing my voice, but I think the NC State defense has to be really good too, because now you have an inexperienced quarterback. So fire him up, man. If you can get some short fields for MJ Morris, that's only going to give him more confidence, especially in the first half of this ball game. I think MJ is ready to lead this team, truthfully. I feel like now you're going to get the full car here. You're going to get the keys to this thing, drive that truck, and go out here and win.
Do you think there's any way after this game, are we having the conversation of why was he not the guy from jump?
I don't think so, because I understand why he wasn't. You bring in Brennan Armstrong for a reason in the portal to match up with Robert and I get that part. So I wouldn't say that we have that conversation. I think now we'll just look back and say, Coach Doran did what he had to do. He made an executive decision. I'm sure it wasn't easy to make that decision again because you want Brennan Armstrong to finish it out, but when able to do it, you go with the younger guy and let him play.
I will say I understand it, but I definitely thought it was strange. When I saw that news, I was like, is there something I don't know? Is MJ leaving? What's the deal? So I thought that it was strange, but I think you're right. He made the right decision.
You guys were just taking a look at Peyton Wilson, and we heard what the crew up top thought about this defense. Emac, we've talked a lot about what Tony Gibson can do to different disguises to make things different difficult on a quarterback, especially a young quarterback.
Yes.
What do you expect to see from this NC State defense?
A lot of junk. I mean, I want them showing pressure, trying to disguise, playing cover 2 on one side, cover 4 on the other side. You just want to really show this guy a bunch of different looks and try to confuse him. And honestly, until he proves it, until Beeland proves it, you're kind of going into this thing saying, we're going to tee off. Like, we're going to send pressure. And this front has played out of their minds. When you see what Davin Van has been able to do at the defensive end position. So this whole defense is playing at a very high level. I think we see him go man-to-man a bunch and send a bunch of pressures through the middle.
I don't really think it matters who the quarterback is. We saw him like Sam Hartman up,
they're going to do it. No question. They're going to do it.
Especially an inexperienced guy. They're going to get after him. And Peyton Wilson has to have a day. I think what they talked about in the booth, him being one of the best players in the country, you'll see it tonight. Because if they have any chance of winning, he has to have a big night. But also Sean Brown. I mean, not too many people are talking about him. He's been flying around. A guy that they had on that defense last year, Tanner Ingle, he's gone in the NFL now, but Sean Brown has taken over that role, the aggressor back there, the intimidator. You'll see him flying around as well.
I would also say play a lot of man coverage, too. Force Beeland and make some really contested, tight throws. If you play zone, I believe any quarterback, especially at this level, playing D1, they'll find windows, especially as you get into the scramble drill as well, where guys can uncover, play some man coverage, bring in 6 or 7 guys in the blitz, see what he can do.
And the main thing with NC State, you do have to be good in coverage because they are aggressive, but they are giving up a lot of yards through the air. So they are susceptible to the big play. Hey, and if you play man-to-man, Coach Johns drop them pick plays, get these receivers, hey, that catch and run, I want to see it.
That's what I was going to ask you. How would you approach it? If you're Kevin Johns, this young quarterback, I mean, are you running it a bunch? Eddie was talking about let's get some quick game out. What would be your kind of approach that you would like to see?
Well, I'll go 5 wide, truthfully, and make the picture clean for Beeland. You know, that way when you have 5 wide, you spread everybody out, and defenses can't really mug the box and try to mug guys up at the line of scrimmage. You can't act like you're coming if it's 5 wide. You got to eventually get to that guy you have to cover, especially in man-to-man coverage. I've always felt like motions usually help you as well, kind of getting an indicator whether it's man or zone, depending if they follow with the guy that's the motion man. So small little things like that can help a young quarterback.
I love that. That's great.
Don't you remember Tony Gibson said he loved it when you go empty?
Well,
on the road show.
He's
going to throw different
It shows you
guys.
everything.
But Beeland's got to be on top of it upstairs to understand what's going on.
To that point, I mean, Coach Gibson is basically saying, I'm faster than your quarterback. We're going to hit you. And I'd love to see that chess match.
We got to see Henry Beeland in week 2 taking on Lafayette. He got in, was 8 of 8 for 118 yards and a touchdown. This is going to be a much different defense that he is seeing tonight in NC State. When we come back, Henry Beeland IV is expected to be the starter in tonight's game. Riley Leonard officially ruled out. We'll break down what needs to happen as we continue here from Duke. Welcome back into the ACC Huddle, coming to you live from Durham, North Carolina. You see starting quarterback Riley Leonard with the ankle wrap on his right foot. He is not the starter tonight because it is official. He has been ruled out for this game. Injured that right ankle in their game 2 weeks ago against Notre Dame. So expecting to see Henry Beeland IV as the starter in this matchup. I loved picking you guys, get your brains about this game ahead of this week as we were talking about it, because as good as I know you all think Riley Leonard is, you don't have a whole lot of concern for the drop-off, EMAC, because you feel so confident about the other areas of this team. Tell me more about why.
And I think that's just being respectful to this Duke team. I mean, I've seen it up close in person. These guys are good from heads, down, from quarterback to running back to offensive line. And listen, the strength program, the things that they've done here, these guys got better really quickly, and that was a huge piece of it. So I just think that the team is going to do their part. They're going to handle business for Riley. I think they play inspired. I think they play harder. And again, at the end of the day, this cat is good. I mean, I know we saw very limited experience from him, but to be 100% on air is impressive. So I think the game plan going to be very similar, but I do like, Eddie, you kind of like saying, hey, let's get the ball out quick. Let's try some things, get him confident, and then I would like to see some shots. I want to test this man-to-man.
I mean, he's got a strong arm. I love what I saw on tape. I mean, he's 100% so far this year, so he's having a good year so far. But I mean, this team is put together perfectly. I mean, you got great run running backs, the offensive line is amazing. You got guys who can make plays on the outside, and then the defense is playing well. It's a defensive head coach, so this is a great opportunity for a backup to come in and make a great impression on his team.
EJ, one thing that might be a little, not inside baseball, but kind of walk us through, when you are QB2, do you ever work with the ones in practice? Are you throwing to these receivers? This isn't like the first week they've ever worked together.
Yeah, sparingly. So normally if you have a period where you have 12 plays, the backup might get 3 with the ones. And then if you have a period of 20, you might get 4. And that's just because you want the backup quarterback to get some snaps with the center. You want the backup quarterback to also go against the first team defense if you go good versus good, depending on blitz drills and things like that. So you do get reps, but again, it's not often. And then also what I did as a backup, whether I was in the league or in college, I'd take the script, which is the practice format, after practice, and I'd walk through every single rep that I didn't get that the starter got, just to make sure I still got the mental rep in case I had to go there and play on Saturday or Sunday.
Y'all hear that, kids? That's why he was a first-round draft pick.
Got to put the work in, no doubt. But also, you know what it was? I didn't want to embarrass myself. Of course. I wanted to be ready. The last thing as a backup that you want to be caught in with your pants down.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you get your opportunity to go out there and play, you got to make the most of it.
We've talked a lot about the mindset and mentality of this Miami team as they get ready to take on North Carolina and what happened. But you see Dwayne Carter getting his guys fired up. I mean, the last time they were on this field, they were 15 seconds away from taking down Notre Dame. What do you think, EMAC, the mindset of this team is?
I think this is an attacking team. I think that, Mr. President, Mr. Carter there was getting these guys riled up, saying, hey, understand the situation that we are in right now. We are undefeated in ACC play. Let's continue that. We control every piece of our destiny, and I think that's vital to understand. A lot of people might think, hey, these guys are going to hang their head. They lost that big game. Season's over. Not even close, man. Everything that these guys want to accomplish is right out there, and I know that staff, I know these players all understand that and get this opportunity.
And I also give Coach Elko a lot of credit for holding Riley out, because I bet you he wanted to be out there.
Sure.
You know the type of player that he is and the type of guy. He was fighting to get out there, and Coach Elko protected him from himself and kept him out of this game.
And we got to remember, too, even when Riley Leonard was playing, he ran the football a lot. Yeah. So this is a team that can can win by running the ball, play good defense as well. That's a good formula for winning tonight. Yep.
We know they won't have Riley Leonard. We also just got word that they won't have their starting tight end, Nicky Dalmolin, and it'll be Jeremiah Hazley that'll start. With some of the weapons out and some of the quarterback that's out, what does the game plan need to be? I know you like to talk about running the ball today, even though, do they need to feed Jordan Waters just as much as they have? Do they need to lean on him early?
Yeah, hey, put Jordan Moore in the Wildcat, right? Why not?
Come on now, hold on.
Why not? It was a quarterback battle over the summer, right?
Quarterback battle?
Last year, right?
Beeler was still in high school, I think, if I'm not correct.
I'm just saying, so he can play quarterback. Why not throw it out there?
Oh, Jordan
in the Wildcat.
I got you. You said Jordan Waters.
No, Jordan Moore I'm talking about. No,
I was like, wait, Waters?
I could have sworn I said Moore. Jordan Moore.
That would be fascinating.
Put him in the Wildcat. Let him throw it a little bit,
slinging
too.
around. I don't know about that. That's fun to think about. But I think you do run the football. I think you get that going. And also, we might find out how well Beelan can run the football. I mean, he didn't have a ton of those opportunities. And Coach talking about, hey, the game plan ain't changing. Well, guess what? They run the quarterback a lot. So that'll be fascinating. How different is it? Is it noticeable when we watch this game? You're like, oh, man, there's a big drop-off here? Or is this young man competent enough, ready enough, and comfortable in the game plan? That's going to be fascinating to me.
Protect that ball, young man. He hadn't been hit that much this year, so protect that ball. This is a fast, aggressive defense. Going to be looking to get that ball out.
Duke, the number 17 team in the country, coming off of a bye week without their starting quarterback, Riley Leonard, and taking on an in-state foe in NC State. Should be a great one in just about 15 minutes here on ACC
Whoa,
Network.
what are we doing here?
Is he confused?
You don't know which team to pick.
Got to go one way or the other.
Must have family on both sides, right? You got the Blue Devil horns. You got the NC State shirt.
You're looking for somebody.
You maybe got those for friends.
You ready for that text back? Text me back, babe.
Welcome back out to Durham, North Carolina. Blue, the mascot, hoping that he has something to cheer about. Duke hadn't beat NC State since November 9th, 2013. Guys, they're honoring A 2013 team tonight. They ended up being the ACC Coastal champs. Still plenty ahead for this Duke team as they have started off the season 4-1 and now getting ready to welcome in NC State. We talked a lot about the starting quarterback for Duke, Riley Leonard, not being in for this one, but let's dive a little bit deeper into what we're going to see from NC State and MJ Morris. And Emac, why do you still have confidence in this offense with what you've seen so far from MJ Morris?
Well, I think he was an absolute spark last week. And again, when you look at the silly turnovers that happened, the first one, we've gone back and forth. Was it his fault? Was it not? A little hot, a little bit high, but nevertheless went right through his wide receiver's hands. The next one, guy just falls asleep, doesn't block at all, pick six. And then the last one, would it bounce off somebody's helmet or something? Just something crazy there.
Yep.
And that was 21 points. I mean, think of how much better that score would have looked, how much better the team would have looked. So the thing that I'm most confident in is that young man went through some crazy adversity and still responded, still put up the most points that they've scored, I believe, since like 2017, 2018. So I feel fine with MJ. I think he's a bona fide superstar.
Yeah, and look, he took some hits in that game too. Marshall's defense, especially the front seven, was coming after him. They did a really good job staying in his face, trying to make the picture hard. But again, he was able to hang in there. I guarantee in this game, the week of practice was really important for him to really get that confidence, to hone in on those small details so those interceptions don't happen. And now he won't be as juiced up. He's still going to be excited, but even that first pick, it was high, and it's a slant across the middle. You just got to put that right in the guy's chest or in his belly. In this type of game, take a deep breath, go out there and let it happen.
Yeah, Michael Allen's got to have a big day. He was a highly recruited guy coming out of high school. We've seen flashes of him making big runs, and that's going to be important today.
I want to ask you, before we move on, just a question also about NC State head coach Dave Doran. He's got 76 wins. He's one shy of tying the record for the most in school history. This has got to be a challenging year because you bring in Brennan Armstrong, you get Robert and you think that this offense is going to be what we saw 2 years ago. And Eddie, they've struggled. If you're Dave Doran, what's the message to this team about what they can and need to do moving forward?
Just fight, right? And when you're a great coach, this is when you shine through adversity. This is when you show the type of leadership that you have. And I have no doubt that they're going to be ready to play. They're going to be motivated, ready to go. You love thriving in these type of situations. Everybody's doubting you. It's not the season you expected, but they're going to finish for those guys in that locker room. They're going to play for each other. That's a family and a close-knit team.
And no question about it. And I think one thing that Coach Dave Doran is very excited about is the way Peyton Wilson is playing the game of football right now. I mean, an absolute monster, all-American type numbers, 70 tackles, like 4 sacks, a couple of PBUs, getting his hands on the football. This guy is electric.
He's breaking stuff like Eddie's over here breaking.
I'm ready to play. Oh my God. Eddie's ready to go, man. But he's going to have to have a massive game tonight. And again, just how much can he impact this game will be fun to see.
And also the fact that NC State played last week and Duke didn't. So will we see a flat Duke come out here, even though you got Beelan in his first start and things like that? But ultimately, what NC State showed against a really good Marshall team should help them tonight.
Fans really starting to pile in here, and of course, you've got some legends that pile through these walls as well when you have a game like this, an in-state rivalry matchup. How about Torrey Holt?
Legend.
T. Holt.
Hanging out.
That man in a gold jacket, too. What are we doing?
Yeah. Get him in there.
Eddie, what do you think about Torrey Holt and what he was able to do?
I mean, one of the best to ever do it. He was a guy that I looked up to. I used to watch his tape with the Rams, him and Isaac Bruce, and those
bad boys.
Man, the route running, one of the best route runners ever to play this game, and an NC State legend.
Bro, you just took me way back. I used to play Madden with my pops, and I would use those guys. He'd get so mad, man. He'd throw the controller, quit, because I was killing him with Torrey Holt.
Now, I'll say this about Torrey Holt, too. He's always been extremely nice. You know what I mean? Just a good dude. And obviously, like you said, Eddie and EMAC, we grew up watching him, man. So the fact that he's so humble every time I run into him, I think last time I saw him, I want to say it was at the Super Bowl last year or something. He just came right up to me, gave me a big hug. So great dude, man. Great guy.
Where'd you see him?
Super Bowl.
Oh, cool.
Big time, man. Doing big things, dog.
All right, so Torrey Holt down there hanging out on the sidelines, but in just a few minutes, these teams will be back out on the field and on the sidelines getting ready for this matchup. We are just about 8 minutes away from the start here in Durham, North Carolina. Wolfpack fans trying to do their part, make sure that their presence is felt here. A lot of Duke fans already in the stadium as well. We'll have one more final thought from Durham, North Carolina on the other side of this break.
Hey, let's go. Let's have a heck of a night. Let's have a hell of a night. Let's go, warm up fast. Warm up fast. I saw a highlight of the last time you were here with the track around the field. I was cracking up. So here we go. 7 on. 7 on. Let's go. Hey, warm up fast. Hey, warm up fast. Get used to the turf. Get used to the turf. Fly around. Fly around.
Coach Elko mic'd up before the game. Love to hear it and love to see what he has been able to do with this program in just his second season. We saw what he was able to build in his first season. Now he's got this team up to number 17 in the country, off to a 4-1 start, and they were so close in that game against Notre Dame. But y'all, it's been 2 weeks since then. So EJ, you mentioned earlier, will it take them a little while to get going, or what do you think is really important for them early in this game, knowing they don't have their starting quarterback?
Yeah, well, if they get out there on defense first, I think it's extremely important to get a stop. Hold NC State from getting any points, and if you do anything, hold them to a field goal. Give, Beelan an opportunity to come in this game and not necessarily play from behind. Now, if that's not the case, offensively, attack, do what you do, but ultimately don't turn the ball over and keep that ball in your possession.
Yeah, I think one thing that's going to be interesting, too, just the crowd in this game. We saw what it was for Clemson, electric. You saw what it was against Notre Dame, electric. It's fall break. A lot of these students are not going to be here tonight simply because they're home. How much does that affect? There's a lot of red. We're showing you guys right here. There's a lot of red in these stands.
Now, that is the NC State section.
That
but as we keep going, yes.
But that's the student section, and it's a lot of red. So it's going to be fascinating to see here tonight. How much does that affect the game? But I will say this. We have spoken a lot, Eddie, about this NC State defense. Ooh. The Duke defense is for real. These guys are nasty. They will hit you. And Dwayne Carter, I think, is going to be coming with bad intentions to try to force the issue, not only in the run game, but also trying to get after MJ Morris.
He is, and shout outs to the DJ. Duke's DJ has been on point so far. EJ, that's probably why you lost your voice singing along with every song.
My bad.
Nah, but it's a nice environment in here, but the guy that I'm thinking about is Jalen Calhoun. He's got to have a good day, not only as a receiver, but also as a punt returner. Field position is going to be key in this game, so setting up your offense with great field position, you can do that in a return game also.
We were lucky enough to be on campus yesterday and standing right down that tunnel. Our guys didn't want to go down it. It was a little too steep for them. I'm not going to call them out or anything.
You got to go back up. That's the bad part.
But EJ, Henry Beelan is about to walk through that tunnel for the first time as the starter. Take me through what's going on in his head right now.
Yeah, hey, look, sit in your locker, take 3 deep breaths, and go out here and play football, man. Don't overthink this thing. Yes, you are a backup quarterback, but tonight you're the starter. This team is looking to you to lead them. Don't play scared. Obviously, take care of the football, but ultimately, go be the guy that they brought you here to be at Duke. Go win this game.
How about the teammates? You got guys like Jordan Waters. You got guys like Dwayne Carter up front that have been leaders. What are you saying in this game?
And even Graham Barton. I mean, if I'm him or any of those guys you just mentioned, Kelsey, I'm going right up to him in pregame before we ran out here in the locker room and just saying, brother, I got you. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure your job is easy tonight. And I think, again, this team's going to rally because of that. And ultimately, I think how he plays is going to inspire these guys really quickly. And who knows? I mean, it might get off to a very hot start for Duke.
Yeah, I mean, just reassuring them that you love him and you got his back, right? Just go out there, play your game like EJ said. Do what you've been doing your entire life. Make sure that you go out there with confidence because the team is watching it. They're watching how you're carrying yourself. So go out there with some swag. Go out there, enjoy yourself, and take advantage of the opportunity in the moment that you got in front of you.
Here's the thing. When he played in week 2, he was a perfect 8 for 8 with 118 yards and a touchdown. He's going to get his first go as being the starter tonight in this game against NC State. Meanwhile, second straight game we will get to see MJ Morris starting at quarterback for this NC State crew. We'll see you back here at the half, but now we send it to West Durham and company.
Kelsey, thank you. We welcome you to Saturday night in Durham, the Bull City tonight. Brooksfield at Wallace Wade Stadium, ACC Network primetime. Just the 5th meeting in the last 20 years. We've taken down the division walls in 2023, and tonight we get the Duke Blue Devils. 2 weeks after the loss to Notre Dame, and they get the NC State Wolfpack, who are here. Great to be with Tim Hasselbeck, West Durham, Taylor Tannenbaum here in just a moment. It's interesting. A year ago, we all expected after 2022, Riley Leonard and Duke's offense. And Tim, Mike Elko in year 2 has got a really good football team.
Yeah, we're still talking about Riley Leonard, but we're also talking about this Duke defense.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see 2 really good defenses tonight, but there's no doubt about it. The difference in Duke is that side of the football, for sure.
Yeah, they're averaging 11 points a game to their opponents. They have been very, very good, including 2 weeks ago against Notre Dame. And here comes Elko's Blue Devils to Brooks Field. So it's the 84th meeting all time, and here's the story 2 weeks ago. Blue Devils at home, sellout house here at Wallace Wade, and they've got a chance to upset Notre Dame. Sam Hartman on 4th and 15 gets 16, and then Estime goes the final 30 and change, and the Irish win. But adding to the heartbreak was this on the final play of the game. Riley Leonard, a high ankle, right ankle injury. He's been sidelined ever since. He's been the story for the last 2 weeks, Taylor.
Yeah, guys, you thought when the team came out for early warm-ups around 6 o'clock earlier tonight that Riley Leonard may be a go, because Leonard was out here with the rest of the team, all smiles in true Riley fashion, and he was not wearing a boot on that right ankle. Instead, it was wrapped in tape pretty tightly, and he was throwing with the rest of the quarterbacks, and he was moving around pretty well. But when they went back into the locker room and came back out in full pads, Riley was not with the group. When we talked to head coach Mike Elko earlier this week, I asked him, what do you need to see from Riley in order to give him the green light to go tonight? He said, I need to see him be able to change direction and push off effectively, and also to be able to protect himself. Clearly, he did not pass that test. Coach did tell me that Riley tried. He was close, just not close enough. So instead, 13 will be on the sideline in street clothes, hanging out with his team, while Henry Beelan, the redshirt freshman, gets his first career start.
Well, not only does Henry Beelan get his first career start, he gets his 3rd ball game of the year, Tim, and this young man from the Bronx in New York out of Cardinal Hayes. What do we know?
Well, we know he's got a really strong arm, and we know that he's played well with the limited reps that he's had. But what we don't know is what his command will be against a very good NC State defense, and we don't know if he's the same type of runner as Riley Leonard, because Riley Leonard makes so many plays with his legs, extending and creating on his own. Does Beelan have the ability to do that?
All right, so the Henry Beelan story is playing out for Duke. First start. MJ Morris tonight, Tim, makes his 4th start, but his first as a roadie for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, first on the road, and there's been some good and there's been some bad. Obviously, the start of last week, a couple of turnovers, but he rebounded from that. Had some good snaps a year ago as a starter before injury. He's an explosive quarterback. Can beat you on the ground as well as through the air, but he's facing a good defense. How he will handle this opportunity on the road, I think, is something that the entire Wolfpack coaching staff is eager to see.
Well, so we look at Morris tonight on the road. We know one thing. He's already found a good receiver, and that's this freshman, Casey Concepcion.
Yeah, he's been outstanding. He's been the favorite target for the Wolfpack. He's just dangerous with the ball in his hands, got a ton of speed, and he has definitely emerged out of that wide receiver room. They are, however, looking for some other guys to step up as well, but no doubt about it, there'll be some guaranteed touches for number 10.
And these are 2 terrific coaches at the front of these programs. And Dave Doran was pretty simple. He goes, we needed a spark, and we got it from MJ Morris.
Yeah, I understand why he's making the move. He feels like he needs that spark. He also feels like Brennan Armstrong has handled it well. But this is a well-coached team, there's no doubt about it. And you can say the same thing on both sidelines.
Well, and there is just no telling how good the job Mike Elko has done here. I mean, he's 13-5 and not through 2 years. He's only got 1 loss against ACC teams at home, and it was a year ago practically tonight against North Carolina, and then the loss, heartbreaking loss 2 weeks ago against Notre Dame.
Well, any question of the job he's done, 5 games into year 2 and College Game Day was on campus. So there's no question he's done a good job improving this Duke Blue Devil football program.
84th meeting all time between Duke and NC State. We told you when the division walls came down, or the division walls were put up for 2004, they've only played 4 times, despite being just 22 miles apart. It's a matchup both schools wanted to see, and they get it here tonight, and we're fortunate to bring it to you. And NC State won the toss, so Duke will touch it first. Terry Moore is deep to receive for the Blue Devils, averaging 20.5 a kick. And there'll be no return here. So Henry Beeland, the ball is yours. 1st and 10 at your 25-yard line. And I'm going to guess there might be a butterfly or two, Tim.
There definitely will be, and staying on schedule is really what Duke needs to do offensively. And so you think, well, hey, you're just going to run the ball on 1st down, but you can't against this NC State defense. And so, look, I expect there to be balance, and I expect them to trust Henry Beeland to put the ball in the air.
Don't forget Riley Leonard, not just an outstanding passer, he's also Duke's leading rusher. The 13th best rusher in the ACC is off Beeland's left hip here for 1st and 10. Play fake. Beeland had it batted in the air and incomplete. Almost picked off. Davin Vann, I think, got a hand up, big number 1, and that's 300-pound C.J. Clark that was trying to get the carom.
It's a great job of Vann. It's an RPO, and so you're not getting the hands down of the defensive lineman, and so Vann, who's an active player, gets his hands up. But that's a good example of, look, it's 1st down. Henry Beeland's first start. It doesn't mean we're definitely running the football. I think you have to have balance against this defense.
Quickly 2nd and 10. The clap cadence for the Blue Devils, and nowhere to go for Waters. Jalen Scott, the linebacker, was the first guy in the red helmet to get to Jordan Waters. There is Peyton Wilson. This is a terrific defense. You see their FBS numbers in sacks. Opponent 3rd down is crazy. And the interception. They are a takeaway machine. They forced 11 turnovers. And here's Beeland blitzed on 3rd down and intercepted on the back end. Shaheem Battle comes away with the pick for the Wolfpack. And back inside the Duke 40-yard line. 7th career interception. 2nd of the season for Battle.
Well, here's what happens. You get to a known passing situation in West. You're talking about how good they are defensively. They want to get you to 3rd down. Here's Peyton Wilson walked up into the A gap, but he's going to come out, and it's pressure from the side. And that pressure from the outside is going to end up getting to Beeland. It forces him to throw the football early, feels it, and that's why they turn the football over. And now NC State gets to start their first drive in Duke's territory.
M.J. Morris from Carrollton, Georgia. Last week, 265 yards on 17 of 32. Going to hand it on the sweep. This is Keon Lassane, and great run pursuit. That was Jalen Stinson leading the way for the Blue Devils. So M.J. Morris on a speed sweep, if you will, to Lassane, but this sophomore, Tim, you saw him a year ago on a Saturday night in Raleigh against Wake Forest. He was terrific.
He was, and he's athletic. He's got a strong arm. I think he's going to have a bright future at NC State. Look, he wasn't originally the starter. I think he understood the situation and now gets his opportunity.
And DeMarcus Jones can't find any running room. Down the box comes Terry Moore.
Hey, this may be a bit of a precursor to what we're going to see tonight. It's the 2nd time now, for both. Well, it's first time for both teams. 2nd time tonight we get 3rd and longs. It is hard to run against either of these defensive lines.
Morris yet to throw a pass. See, NC State's got 3 to the field here to Morris's left. From the pocket, downfield, and off the fingertips of the intended receiver, Lassane, and it was Terry Moore who almost came away with the pick. Robert and I, the offensive coordinator, talked about getting other guys to step up and compete with Concepcion for balls. Lassane missed a chance maybe there.
And they need Lassane to be that guy that steps up, Wes. It's a great point. He's running a glance route, basically a skinny post versus bail coverage. It's a great call. The ball is there. It's a little high, but that's a play that you would think that Keon Lassane is able to come down with.
Duke keeps a good bit of the defense on the field here. In fact, they are going to play this punt safe. Here is Narveson from almost 60 yards, and he made it. 57-yard field goal for Braden Narveson. My goodness. He scored from 53 twice when he was at Western Kentucky, and he's just kicked one from 57 yards. My heavens, 3-0 Wolfpack. Braden Narveson started his career at Iowa State, then went to Western Kentucky where he played for Tyson Helton out of Desert Mountain High School. And Tim, he just kicked the ball 57 yards to put NC State on the board.
Had a little room to spare as well.
There'll be no return here. And look at Narveson. He's pretty excited for Colin Smith, who's the kickoff guy.
He should be excited about it because he drilled this with a couple yards to spare. I mean, and for perspective, look, Duke had a returner back there thinking we might be able to return a short kick, and I think Mike Elko understands what a big kick that was.
His longest kick had been 49 yards in that rainy Saturday against Notre Dame. Here's Henry Beelan, who went 3 and out in his first possession. Blue Devils trailing 3-0 after the Narveson kick. And they're trying to get Waters started, and tell you what, C.J. Clark playing the nose in the 3-3-5 for Tony Gibson has been all over it.
You know, it's just hard to just get traditional runs against this front. You know, between C.J. Clark, Davin Vann, we've said his name already, Xavier Jackson, the linebackers NC State has. So because of that, look for some of these runs, quarterback runs, to come off of some of that action for Duke offensively.
Jordan Moore to the bottom of your screen here, the wide receiver for the Blue Devils. Here's a 2nd and 10 for Beelan. Shooting from Moore, it's caught out near the 35, which would be close to a first down. Sure tackle by Aiden White, veteran at the corner for NC State.
Yeah, and you got to feel comfortable to get Henry Beelan back to doing this. Free access throw, single receiver, it's Moore. Just go ahead and throw the quick out. It's a nice gain on 2nd down. And now, so for Henry Beelan, just because you had kind of a disastrous start, doesn't mean you have to abandon what the original plan was in terms of, look, trust him, especially on early downs.
3rd and short here for the Blue Devils, who are 6th in the ACC at 43%. And Waters the carry, and NC State takes him down, and I don't think he got it. Wilson was in there, so was Xavier Jackson. And there again is C.J. Clark.
I think these are frustrating situations for a lot of people watching football. It's 3rd and less than a yard. You're in the shotgun, and you run an inside zone play, get beat right away up front, and you don't stand a chance. And so because of that, you know, now you're sending the punt team out. Look, I still firmly believe, even these teams that live in shotgun, you have to be able to get under center and at least have the threat of a quarterback sneak in some of those situations.
NC State's terrific in the return game, either kick or punt. Here's a wobbly kick by Porter Wilson that's going to skip out of bounds inside the 25. Cody was there for the Wolfpack, but it's 3-0 NC State, and their 2nd possession's next.
ACC Network College Football Primetime is brought to you by Ally. Whatever you're saving for, we're all better off with an Ally.
Well, that is the great Earl Edwards, who, of course, coached at NC State 1954 to 1970, won 77 games. That's a program record. And Shawnee, Kansas native Dave Doran, at 51 years of age, sits at 76 tonight. And has done just a remarkable job in now his 11th campaign in Raleigh. And, of course, he comes here tonight, 99 wins. Tonight would be 100. Remember, he coached at Northern Illinois prior to coming to NC State. And we get a whistle here. We got an illegal shift, I think.
I think we got a flinch by Lyndon Cooper, the left guard.
That's Mike Roach. He's the referee tonight, as assigned by the Atlantic Coast Conference. False start on the Wolfpack. Back to the 19.
To piggyback on the Dave Doran, wins, and he's a very good coach. He's a tough coach. I think he's a great fit for this program. He does a good job relating to his team, caring about his players, and I think they play that way.
Sure do. The run game here, and this is Michael Allen. Tim, that's about the best run by either school here in the first 3 turns at it. Al Blades Jr., one of the transfers in the Duke secondary from Miami, makes the stop with Terry Moore Sr. So it'll be second and almost the full 10. Damon Hartman had a 56-yard field goal that was the NC State record until Narveson just kicked the 57-yarder to open our scoring tonight. Second and almost 10 for MJ Morris. Inside, this is Rosner, the Rice transfer, near a first down. They'll measure him to the 35. If so, I think that'll do it. Brandon Johnson was there for Duke out of the secondary.
Well, they're looking to, here's Rosner's going to come underneath, and they're just clearing for him there. Look at how he reaches and extends as he's coming into the middle of the field. Not easy to make a catch like that. That's well done for the first down.
First down we've seen as VJ Anthony comes out of the lineup for Duke. The big defensive end. DeMarcus Jones is checked in. They're playing with 2 backs, and this is Allen again firing through. No, Concepcion. KC Concepcion hiding out in the backfield gets 15.
Hey, how about that? 2 backs in the backfield. You run a lead play with a freshman wide receiver. That's one of your big tight ends to be a lead blocker, and they could give you a sense of like, hey, if the Miami Dolphins are going to give Tyreek Hill the football out of the backfield as a receiver, maybe we can do that with Concepcion.
In motion, that's Julian Gray, and here's another flag. And we got more movement, I think. That is on Lyndon Cooper, who, by the way, was from middle school on, was MJ Morris's center in Carrollton, Georgia.
And he's had to play some center here. They definitely think he's better off at guard, and probably doesn't like the fact that his number's been called twice already.
Yeah, Dylan McMahon's come back to play at center for the Wolfpack from injury. Here's Morris from the pocket again. Now he'll step up, and he's going to be pulled down. That's Ryan Smith, I think, that got the back of Morris's jersey and tugged him to the turf.
Morris is back from behind by number 40, Ryan Smith.
Good play by Smith.
It's a design pass play. This is not a quarterback draw. It kind of, I feel like bails on the route combination a little early, maybe didn't see it clearly, and it's a good job Smith does of kind of retracing to make sure that Morris can't get out into the open field.
So second down and long, 14 for the first down. Morris wanted to throw, now we'll tuck and go. And we'll get to about the Blue Devil 45, and that's where third down will take place. Trey Freeman, the weak side linebacker, makes the play for Mike Elko's defense.
And that was a good decision by Morris. The route really didn't define itself. Takes off and run. Now it's a very manageable third down, and Dave Dorn, who loves going for it on fourth down, is aggressive with it. Even if we are potentially in field goal range once again, could be looking at 2-down territory here. And I would say this, with just such an effort to get the football to Concepcion, would be shocked if there isn't something to try to get him the ball here.
DeMarcus Jones in the backfield. Morris downfield, and that's Rosner, and had it broken up by Terry Moore. Moore has kind of been the lead guy in the back end defensively for Duke here so far in this first period.
And NC State was trying to get Concepcion the ball. They're running a little option route underneath with a corner over the top. The option gets doubled, and that ball is to the hands of Rosner. If you're an NC State fan, that's the ball you like to see him catch. At the same time, it's a nice job of Terry Moore of raking at the football to get it out.
Noonkester on to punt now for the Wolfpack. Calhoun waits outside the 10 and will signal for the fair catch, and that's where the Blue Devils are going to start. Well, Terry Moore has saved a couple pass plays for Duke defensively, but the Wolfpack leads 3-0.
welcome back to Durham. After that second drive, Henry Beelan came over to the sideline. He was sitting very quietly, clearly internalizing things, spending a lot of one-on-one time with offensive coordinator Kevin Johns, and Riley Leonard at one point came over. Didn't say much, but did offer some words of encouragement. He said, they're not moving the ball on our defense. Keep doing what you're doing, guys.
57-yard field goal from Narveson is the only points in the game so far. Here is Beelan. Little play fake, wants to shoot it down, does, caught, tight end Jeremiah Hazley. There is a flag down on the play, but without Nicky Dalmolin tonight in the lineup, Jeremiah Hazley's second catch of the year. And let's see what Mike Roach has here.
Holding, defense number 8. Penalties decline, there's up for the play. First down.
Robert Kennedy started his career at Lackawanna Community College, East Carolina, Old Dominion, and now Raleigh. Guilty of the penalty.
That's a great drive starter for Duke. Henry Beelan does a good job. Move the pocket play, doesn't like the flat. That's number 1 in the progression. Waits for the over and delivers a nice throw and tack on the penalty. It's a good job getting out of your own end by Duke.
21 yards in total. First and 10, Beelan looking, little stop and go. Gonna take the deep shot downfield, Calhoun! Jalen Calhoun scores! You need a big play, you go to the big play guy. 5 is that man, Tim.
He is that man, and it's a great job of Kevin Johns, offensive coordinator for Duke, dialing up the double move on an early down against an aggressive corner. And it was wide open, and it was a perfect throw by Henry Beelan.
Here's Todd Polino to try and make it an even 7, and does. Prior to the throw, Beelan to Calhoun, 49 yards was the longest throw of the year for Duke offensively.
Duke struggling to run the ball on first down. It's a little double move. You see the pump fake, stand in the pocket, know you're going to get hit, and deliver a strike to Calhoun. That's well done by Beelan. And then how about the route? Go ahead and sell it. Basically a hitch and go, and then that's all types of separation. That's really well done against an aggressive corner. That's Renton Hinton jumping the route, driving on it, and oftentimes a double move. The receiver's coming out of the double move much slower than obviously if he was just running a go route. So that's a good job of Beelan delivering an accurate throw.
So Henry Beelan's got a whole new world in front of him now. And Jalen Calhoun just working at the office. His 15th career touchdown catch.
Riley Leonard excited for him about it as well.
I wonder when Taylor was seeing Leonard and Beelan talk, if Leonard just found it and say, look, you just get the ball to 5. 5's the guy.
Yeah. Let me tell you who you can trust.
Yeah. Through the end zone, Wolfpack now trailing for the first time tonight. Starts from its 25. Don't forget, following our coverage here tonight of the Wolfpack and Blue Devils ACC Huddle postgame tonight from right here at the fabled Horseshoe. Full recap of the day in the conference, all the highlights and much more. Kelsey's here, of course, supervising E.J. Manuel, Eric McClain, and Eddie Roll. And our congratulations. Mark Richt is in Tallahassee where they're celebrating the 1993 Florida State team this weekend. And that Coach Richt could be a part of that. Michael Allen in the backfield with M.J. Morris, and NC State, who was in a slugfest, a high-scoring game last Saturday against Charles Huff and Marshall, finds themselves now trailing Duke, and a quick throw on the perimeter. Julian Gray making the cutback. Made one guy miss, keeps his feet, and dives out of bounds, nearly a 10-yard play. Boy, the Wolfpack coaches were very high on what Julian Gray's meant to him this year.
Well, because he's been such a good returner, Wes. Plays like that are some of the kind of guaranteed touches you can get to him and almost make it like a return game. Get him on the perimeter with perimeter blocks, see what he can do, and an 8-yard gain on first down is pretty good.
So Gray with his 5th catch in the last 3 1/4 ball games. 2nd and short here. Wolfpack going to run it with Allen. Drop the shoulder on Moore and hit the 35. I think that'll be enough for the Wolfpack first down. This NC State team, Tim, 11th in the league at 148.5. In the 2 league games they played, the win at Virginia, the loss to Louisville, they're averaging only 114 yards on the ground. And with some turnover issues in the first 5 games and some struggles running the ball, I'm sure Dave Doran wants that number going north. Allen and Concepcion in the backfield again. And this is KC Concepcion. Straight through, double clutches the football as Duke's raking at it and gets to the Blue Devil 44-yard line. Trey Freeman makes the stop on KC Concepcion.
I think this is a really important point. It's first off a tremendous run by a 187-pound wide receiver that has now been playing in the backfield. Robert Anae, the new offensive coordinator for NC State, has a history of basically saying, look, I'm finding my good football players. I don't care what position they technically play, but I'll put them in the backfield and hand them the football. He's done it twice now with Concepcion. 36
yards on 2 carries for Concepcion, and NC State's hurting themselves with some unforced errors here. Another penalty on the Wolfpack. Pre-snap variety, 3rd time, 15 yards so far here in the first quarter. See Concepcion comes to the sideline. Dave Doran yelling at his offense for just the mental mistakes here. But Morrison plus territory. Still after the penalty. That's Dakari Collins in motion to the boundary. And Morris, the keeper, and boy, he got roughed up by Freeman. Terry Moore again coming down the box to help Trey Freeman, the linebacker, make the tackle on MJ Morris.
Yeah, we've seen 3 false starts by NC State so far, and part of that is, look, you're playing with a new quarterback. I know it's the 2nd week as a starter, but getting the rhythm of the cadence and understanding kind of his tempo and all of that, something you have to get adjusted to, because keep setting yourself behind the chains. It's going to be a tough night against this Duke defense.
Morris has got 3 receivers to the top. Allen tries to help with a block. Here's a throw, and off the pads of the intended receiver, Gray, at the 35. Chandler Rivers, sophomore corner from Beaumont, Texas, in there for the coverage for the Blue Devils.
Well, NC State gets a great, they get a great look at what the blitz that's coming. It's coming from Morris's right, so they end up picking it up, and they're throwing a route combination right into that voided area, and it's a perfect throw by MJ Morris. And Julian Gray just has to come up with it. They're looking for receivers to step up, and they're going to keep giving opportunities to a variety of guys.
Allen stays in the backfield for 3rd down. Duke brings 3. Morris steps up. He will tuck it away and run and slide well before the first down mark. They're going to measure the start of the slide at the Duke 39. NC State messes on its 3rd down opportunity. You're in Narvison's range.
Well, and I think that's the thing, Wes. I said it earlier about willingness to go for it on 4th down. Dave Doran is aggressive on 4th down. Could impact this 3rd down call. Seems like we got an injury.
4th and 8, and you see ESPN Analytics says 4th and 8 or less is a go. And with 2:53 to go.
And I wonder if I hope our analytics is factoring in Narvison's 57-yard kick. But look, I think this area of the field, and I would also say this, with how Duke, really they've gotten one big play. I don't know that Dave Doran needs to feel or fear that giving Duke the football, on the minus 40-yard line, I don't know that would be a big issue defensively. And so I would expect NC State to be aggressive here.
Morris is coming back. Wolfpack going for it. That's Braden Narvison, who opened the scoring tonight with a school record 57-yard field goal. Damon Hartman's 56 to beat Carolina in Chapel Hill 30-odd years ago, broken tonight. So here's Morris. State's 3 for 5 on 4th down this year. And we got another procedure penalty. 4th of this first quarter for NC State.
False start. Offense. Number 86. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Dakari Collins, the wide receiver, Tim.
So somebody says Dakari Collins, number 86. He's the receiver down at the bottom of the screen here, and he just flinches. And there's no excuse for it. What are we now? 4th false start now for NC State? Look, Dave Doran, whose teams are usually disciplined, they don't beat themselves. So far in this first quarter, have not done a good job with some of these pre-snap penalties.
So here's the snap to Noonkester. He's going to try and flip it end over end toward Calhoun, who's already asked for the fair catch, bailed out, and the Wolfpack going to down it on the bounce inside the 5 at the 4. 41-yard punt, and Henry Beelan's 4th possession will be backed up inside the 5. Quick reminder to you, Thursday night on ACC Network, women's soccer, a double dip at 6 o'clock. Boston College is in Winston-Salem to meet Wake Forest, and then in the ranked category, number 11 Notre Dame is in Chapel Hill to see Anson Dorrance and North Carolina. Women's soccer Thursday night on ACC Network, streaming live on the ESPN app. So the Wolfpack pins Duke back to its 4 for the 4th possession for Henry Beelan, the 4th. Jarquez Moore trying to get started, cannot. State chopped him down. And is that Boykin? It is. Devin Boykin, who's off injured. Tim played 81 snaps last week. Dave Doran said he'll give us all he can tonight. We're not sure how much. But it takes Jarquez Moore down for a yard loss.
He's playing early in this football game, and you think part of it may be just the communication aspect of what he brings to the table. He's a smart football player, and I think some of the concerns about being thin in the secondary, an issue for NC State.
Remember Rakeem Ashford lost for the season. And now we got movement on the Blue Devils. Maurice McIntyre, the left guard, big 71, I think.
False start. Offense, number 71. Half the distance to the goal. 2nd down.
Left guard right there is the one that flinches, and there's some movement up front by NC State, kind of anticipating a blitz and just not able to sit in there. Now you're really backed up.
Wolfpack showing pressure here too. Beelan wants to throw. Here comes State. Beelan hit as he cuts it loose, going deep again, incomplete. There's their flag, yes. The flag is going to be on Battle. Downfield against Jordan Moore. There are 3 flags now finally.
Pass interference. Defense number 7. 15-yard penalty, automatic. 1st down.
All right, there's a lot going on here. It's a great idea by Duke saying, look, we're backed up. You're bringing pressure. We have a one-on-one. We're going to throw it up. It's going to be an incomplete pass, or maybe it's going to be a pass interference. Battle is actually in pretty good position because of the pressure. It's not an accurate throw. Just turn around, locate the football. Don't panic and grab early. And so I think that hand fighting draws the flag.
And Jordan Moore and Shaheem Battle were in there. It was a pretty 50-50 play. Penalty on the Wolfpack pushes Duke to its 16.5, and Jarquez Moore on the sweep fires across the 25 to the 32, and a Blue Devil 1st down before Boykin can make the play.
I have a feeling some of these quick hitting runs, especially with a back like Moore who's got more quickness, that's how Duke's going to have to try to run the football against NC State.
16-yard run, Beelan. 1st and 10, going to crank and sling it deep, and it is broken up by Battle on the way to Samir Hagans. Shaheem Battles had a game's worth of work in the 1st period.
He has, and there's no doubt that Duke feels like they can go after. Basically, you're going to get a route combination here. We're going to have a corner and you're going to have a post. And if this ball gets led across the field, not necessarily to the near upright, actually switch, release it. Lead him across the field to the far hash, and you may have a touchdown. Instead, he slows him down. Maybe a ball he can still come down with, and then Battle, who just got called for the PI, does a decent job of getting his hand in there to rake the ball out.
Second and the full 10 now for Beelan. And another play fake, hit as he throws. Boy, took a huge lick from Savion Jackson, and now a flag has been thrown in.
And I think they're going to get him getting hit up around the head and neck area.
Personal foul, roughing the defense, roughing the passer, defense number 9. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And Savion Jackson, making his 26th career start tonight for the Wolfpack, is kind of what for there.
Yeah, these are really tricky. It's an RPO, so guys are getting free, and probably takes that extra step. That's late. Helmet, head and neck area of a quarterback who's a defenseless player in the pocket, and probably a little extra as well after. Maybe that's where the flag came in, that little shove at the end of it.
So Jackson, another penalty on the Wolfpack, pushes it near midfield for a fresh set of downs. And here is Waters into the NC State secondary. Jordan Waters, finally brought down by Devin Boykin. But 7 is the man in the Blue Devil run game.
Well, and another quick hitter, and this one is blocked really well. Jacob Monk does a nice job kind of sealing that right side as Waters gets out that way, and then a good finish to the run by Waters, because that's Boykin who basically sacrifices himself to get Waters down.
And that will be the final play of the first period. Trooper Taylor pretty fired up on the Duke coaching staff. Riley Leonard likes what he sees. Henry Beelan has thrown a 69-yard strike to Jalen Calhoun. Braden Arvison's kicked the school record 57-yard field goal. And we're only a quarter in tonight on ACC Network. The ACC's Committee for Racial and Social Justice, in conjunction with its member institutions, have identified October 14th to the 22nd as ACC Unity Week. Quarter 2 at Wallace Wade Stadium on a Saturday night. 7-3 Duke, and the Blue Devils working toward the closed end of the horseshoe here to start period 2, and now we got another penalty. Another procedure call. This one on the Blue Devils. Second time, I think, for Duke, right?
False start. Offense, number 8. 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's on Jordan Moore. And I think that's a half dozen procedure calls. 4 on NC State, seemingly, Tim, couple on Duke.
I mean, shouldn't happen. And listen, you get behind schedule, you're not able to stick with this. You know, some early penalties. Weren't able to run the football, get some stuff down the field, then you are able to run the football, but starting off at 1st and 15 doesn't help that happen.
In motion, that's Jontavius Robertson, and now timeout by Duke, and Mike Elko not happy at the Blue Devil bench.
Duke takes its first timeout of the half.
So Duke burns a timeout.
It'll be a 30-second timeout
before we ever snap the ball to start quarter 2 here. And there was a full communication wherewithal going on at the Blue Devil bench, because Kevin Johns and Trooper Taylor were shoulder to shoulder, and then Mike Elko was talking to them, and then the timeout got called, and just a reset all the way around here.
And look, this is how you want to start a quarter. Like, you just had a break. You just had a chance to talk to your team. You see Mike Elko there, I think, voicing his displeasure with everybody involved in the operation of, look, coming out of a quarter, you should not be in a situation where you get a penalty and then have to burn a timeout.
Yep. So now Beelan to work with Waters in the backfield. 2 tight ends for the Blue Devils. Nicky Dalmolin, their top guy at that spot, out tonight. Play fake, Beelan, and a moonshot is way over the head of Jalen Calhoun. We got a flag in the backfield. Is this a hold on Duke? Let's see. It is. Could be on Jacob Monk here.
Holding. Offense number 62. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Graham Barton, the left tackle.
Graham Barton, who's a very good player, a leader, a guy that's seen a lot here. See him over here. He's the guy that's going to get called for the holding, and he just kind of hooks because they're scheme blocking it, kind of gets his hands outside extended, and really kind of a terrible decision too by Beelan. He had a guy underneath open, but obviously the penalty setting them back either way.
Yep. 1st and 25 now. They're going to try and get Waters cranked up, and he got knocked down inside the 45 at the 44 by Peyton Wilson.
I think the goal here with what's happened on this drive is give yourself a chance to kick a field goal.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you know, it'd be great to get a first down, but the idea here, 2nd and 22, just 2 downs to chip away at this, to at least have an opportunity to think about kicking a field goal.
So you got Calhoun and Hagans at the top of your screen. Jaquez Morris coming in the backfield here with Henry Beelan. And Beelan's going to keep. And he'll be tackled from behind. That's Savion Jackson. Looked like Sean Brown, the free safety, Zero, had tripped him up. And then Savion Jackson finished it off. So, Tim, the Duke kicking game. Todd Polino's longest is 50 at UConn. There's a look at the sophomore place kicker.
Well, and Wes, because of that, I think there's a very real possibility here. It's 3rd and 16. Pick up 5 yards. I mean, what are you going for it on 4th and 9? I think that's why. Look, a perimeter screen, a run, quarterback draw. I think all of that's in play here for Duke.
That's Hazley in motion. They hand the ball to Moore, and he was a step away from breaking it on Peyton Wilson. Boy, number 11 in the red helmet is terrific. The ACC leader in tackles.
Yeah, and you said step away from nearly breaking it. He nearly does break this. And look at Peyton Wilson, just does a good job of fighting back inside and then making sure that he gets Moore down. And if he doesn't, there's a chance that Moore ends up picking up that first down.
He's the kind of football player that 11 doesn't feel like his number. Like 54, 55 with a neck roll.
Yeah.
And here is Polino now. This is 52. Would be the longest of his career. Kick is away, and it is good. Todd Polino. His longest had been 50 at UConn, 48 last year, and he and Narveson out here setting PRs tonight.
And with as terrible as that drive started for Duke, with the penalties that continue to set them back, coming away with 3 is a really big deal for Duke's offense.
Well, Todd Polino has kicked a 52-yard field goal. Duke's advantage is a touchdown on NC State. Charlie Ham will kick it away to the dangerous Julian Gray. And here at the near corner, Gray is going to bring it out. Yard deep. Bounces it to 15, trying to get here to the 20, and is slung out of bounds around the 18-yard line by Trey Freeman, linebacker. Well, we've had a big play tonight. Henry Beelan to Jalen Calhoun. Here's David Shoemate.
As they're stacked up along the offensive line, Beelan to throw. A little shoulder shake, taking a shot up top. He's got a man. It's Calhoun in stride. House call. Touchdown. 69 yards, and the Blue Devils have the lead.
There's the big play of the night for the Blue Devils. Calhoun. Touchdown is the difference in the game. Morris has got Mims with him in the backfield, and MJ wants to throw here on first down, and that's Concepcion's first catch of the night for the Wolfpack. He's had 2 carries for 36 yards. He's the NC State leading rusher. Got about 4.5, maybe 5 there. Let's call it 2nd and 5, Tim.
And I would think that with some of the struggles with some of the other receivers, we keep seeing more opportunities for Concepcion, like this one.
Yep, here's the sweep. He'll hit the cutback and push it to the 27. I think it's going to be 3rd and short, but there is a flag on the play. And is there a flag? Mike Roach having a discussion. Oh, it's across the way in front of the state bench.
Offense. More than 4 plays in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
All right, so penalty on the Wolfpack, Taylor.
Yeah, guys, after that last kick return, Julian Gray hobbled off, favoring his left upper body area. Looks like his collarbone. He's now on the sideline, clearly in a lot of pain, meeting with the trainers. I'll give you an update as we know more.
Justin Smith is the athletic trainer for the Wolfpack.
And I think on the previous play, they're getting Belton for being too far in the backfield, the left tackle. And because of that, another pre-snap infraction by the Wolfpack.
7 penalties, 55 yards. With 3 minutes gone in the 2nd period. Morris trying to cut this loose. Intercepted Freeman. Trey Freeman inside the 20. Keeps his feet. And taken down around the NC State 8-yard line.
Trey Freeman does a nice job of just reading MJ Morris's eyes, and MJ Morris is trying to hit an in cut, kind of a curl, deep curl to his left, but he's just going to end up staring it down, and by staring it down, he brings coverage to it. It ends up being a problem. Working up top, doesn't like it originally, and just, I think, kind of panics, throws the football, and Freeman is right there to pick it off. And it's one of those ones as a quarterback, as soon as it leaves your hands, you know it's trouble.
10th interception of the year for NC State. Jordan Waters in the backfield here, and Henry Beelan's got a goal-to-go situation. NC State's tough in the red zone. Here's Beelan throwing, and it's caught. Jeremiah Hazley backing up in the end zone with a touchdown catch. 11th touchdown allowed by the Wolfpack in 17 red zone possessions. Duke has just scored their 16th touchdown, Tim, in 23 red zone trips.
This is complimentary football. Come up with the turnover, give yourself great field position, and then hard play action. Sell it with your tight end. Quarterback, tight end do a great job of timing it up, and what a response by Duke.
And in less than a minute, a Polino field goal, and a minute and 9 seconds later, a touchdown pass. Henry Beelan's 2nd of the night to Jeremiah Hazley.
Well, they're definitely feeding off each other. Great job of the defense, coming up with a turnover. Good return by Freeman on top of it. And then hard play action as Henry Beelan throws his 2nd touchdown of the night.
Well, the battery of Freeman and Hazley have pushed this lead to 2 touchdowns. Trey Freeman's first ever interception as a Duke Blue Devil, local guy from Northern Durham High School, and then Jeremiah Hazley, who's trying to close the gap with the injury to Nicky Dalmolin tonight, gets his first career touchdown catch. And during the break, the 2013 Coastal Division champions being celebrated here tonight at Wallace Wade Stadium. A terrific team David Cutcliffe took to not just the ACC championship game where they played the eventual national champion in Florida State, but Tim, also a group that went to the Chick-fil-A Bowl in Atlanta and kind of sparked the resurgence.
It certainly did. A lot of good players on that team, guys that some of them obviously continued on playing the NFL. And And they're getting a pretty good glimpse of another good Duke team.
Sure are.
Performance so far tonight.
Yep, turnover by the Wolfpack. Cost them dearly. Duke's now got 50 points off 10 turnovers that their defense has created. And the Blue Devils, who only threw 4 touchdown passes in their first 5 games, have 2 tonight.
Well, and look, Mike Elko, one of the first things he said to us talking about his team is, we're giving up 11 points per game. Like, we're a good defense, and so far tonight, they've continued to prove that.
Kendrick Raphael's joined Morris in the backfield now. And Raphael, who had an 85-yard day against VMI earlier this year on 16 carries, is brought down by senior Dorian Mahusi. Terrific linebacker who, of course, had the interception against Clemson on Labor Day night, sparking that huge win for Duke.
And for MJ Morris, look, he's responded after a critical error before. We saw it a week ago against Marshall, and he kind of finds himself in a similar situation.
Morris to throw, pressure coming. He's got an open field to his left and takes advantage of it. Freeman will chase him out of bounds at the 39-yard line of the Wolfpack. And 9 yards for Morris here,
And
Tim.
for Morris, you know, he's a really athletic player. I think he can do more of this. Climb in the pocket, it defines itself, and then he actually turns the corner there. That's a big play. It's also something that can kind of settle you down as a quarterback because you feel like you're contributing to moving the offense. You know, something that's been a bit of a struggle so far tonight.
NC State's had 3 different running backs on the first 3 snaps. They went Raphael, then Michael Allen. Here's DeMarcus Jones in the backfield. A play fake to Concepcion, and they're going to throw. And this is Tootle, the tight end, making the catch and spinning around. Or is that DeMarcus Jones? That's 28 Jones, not 29 Tootle. The catch for the Wolfpack and a first down at the Duke 44.
And I think that NC State really can do more of this stuff. They want to run the football, but some of these, you know, boot plays out of the shotgun, make it easy with a guy right in front of you to the flat. You also have Morris, who's a threat as a runner. And another play that can calm your quarterback down. Seen a couple plays like that. I think you could see more of that from the Wolfpack.
Longest pass play so far for MJ Morris. Duke bringing the extra guy. Morris waits, and Rosner can't hang on. He had gotten the step on Al Blades, and it hit him in the hands. And Bradley Rosner couldn't haul it in.
Yeah, and I think that MJ Morris misses one here to Concepcion. He's the inside player here, and he's running an inside fade. This is what he's looking at first. Right now, you got plenty of room to fade him to the outside. I think he's your best receiver. Give him a chance to make that play. I think he comes off of it too early. He had Rosner, but I think he had a bigger play down the field.
Gonna hand the ball to Allen, I believe, here. Or Concepcion, and that time Duke reads it well. Terry Moore in the backfield. You see Trey Freeman also there. Now remember, you got some guys in there mixing it up who probably know one another.
Well, and you get to some of these known passing situations. Couple of things happen. One, we've seen Duke has a really good defensive line. Guys that can win individual matchups. But then also, you know, a creative blitz scheme that you will see from Duke defensively.
You see 3 to the field here for Morris. He's going to launch it deep, and Anthony Smith came back to try and make the play and could not against Blades. No flags. Al Blades in coverage against the redshirt sophomore Smith.
And, you know, we keep saying it. Looking for guys to step up offensively for NC State, and then defensively, Al Blades, who's played a lot of football in this conference. There's some contact at the end of this. But I think Smith can help the cause by putting his foot into the ground and coming back through contact rather than just trying to go over the top of Blades.
Noonkester going to punt. Calhoun asked for the fair catch and juggled it at the 10, but held on. So that's where Duke will take over. 2-touchdown lead, 17-3 at Wallace Wade Stadium. 2-touchdown lead for Duke. Time for tonight's Food Lion Food for Thought, Tim.
Well, the food for thought is Duke has had a couple big plays. Obviously, the double move to Calhoun, which was a perfect throw by Beelan, and then the interception by Freeman with an excellent run after the pick, and then a nice play call to punch that in for the score to Hazley. 3 really big plays that have given Duke a big lead.
Jaquez Moore getting their run game going too. We'll pick up at about 6 on the play. Peyton Wilson the stop. And there's another flag down right around the line of scrimmage. Be on the Blue Devils.
Holding. Offense number 70. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Harvard transfer Scott Elliott.
I mean, look at Mike Elko. I mean, how many times did he say to us, the game flow, staying on schedule, not getting behind down in distance? And for as frustrated, as you see 70 at the top of the screen there, just the handful of jersey, basically a takedown. You know, Mike Elko probably as frustrated as Dave Dorn with some of these penalties.
1st and 15 now for Beelan. That's Calhoun in motion. And we get delay there. Yep, sure did.
Before the snap, delay. Pass to the goal. Snap.
Mike Elko, a native of South Brunswick, New Jersey, played his football in the Ivy League at Penn. And he is a coach's coach, isn't he, Tim?
And
I love him.
I think that look, I think he understands, look, I got a quarterback making my first shot, but we just had a penalty. Really no excuse for a delay of game after it. And look, his team's, made some big plays, but kind of keep hurting themselves.
Half the distance makes it 1st and 18. Play fake, Beelan. Going to shoot it downfield, intended for Jordan Moore. And a flag is back at the 7 at the near side here. See what Mike Roach has for us now.
An eligible receiver downfield on the pass. Offense, number 71. The penalties decline. It'll be 2nd down.
McIntyre.
That was just standard play action. I have no idea why McIntyre would be heading downfield. It wasn't an RPO. Obviously, you see those calls made in some of the run-pass option stuff, but that was just strictly play action with a down-the-field throw.
Beelan going to keep it near side, 15-yard line. He'll work his way now back in the middle of the field to the 29 and a 1st down.
And that's just a big-time error by NC State defensively. Just zone read. The 2 guys in one gap. You have both Brown and Peyton Wilson with nobody paying attention to the quarterback, and because of that, Duke picks up the 1st down.
Jordan Moore helped with the block. Now here's Beelan taking a deep shot and throws it beyond Higgins. The sophomore from Philly, Higgins, couldn't track it down with Aiden White defending.
When Higgins wins again, it's blitz again, which means, and it's 0 blitz, which means you're going to get, here's what happens. You get all-out blitz, but you end up getting man-to-man outside. This is the matchup that he's working. Look, you have the entire field. No help anywhere else. You win on the route, and Henry Beelan just has to give his receiver a chance to play the football.
So 2nd and 10 after the miss by Beelan. He's 4 of 9 for 107 and 2 touchdowns. And Moore having a hard time breaking free from Peyton Wilson. Peyton Wilson flat covers ground.
Yeah, he does an excellent job. C11 in the middle, he actually was kind of folding over the top to the left, the top of the screen. Instead, identifies the ball carrier. He plays hard, doesn't he?
Man. He empties the tank. Tony Gibson could not say enough about number 11. 3rd down now. Beeland trying to come back on the screen and almost threw it away, and now there's a flag. Battle was there defending. Jalen Scott was the guy pressuring the throw. Cisse.
Holding defense number 7 of the eligible receiver. 10-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
So Battle, the hold call, keeps the drive alive for Duke with a first down.
And this is, for the Wolfpack, is another devastating penalty. It's a wide receiver screen. Battle reads it, and he just ends up getting there too early and grabs an eligible receiver. And even though he's behind the line of scrimmage, he can't do it.
8th penalty on Dave Doran's team, 65 yards.
And I think Battle feels like the timing of that play, that the ball would already be there and he's trying to make a tackle, but it just ended up being slightly early.
So 1st and 10. Waters trying to get to the right side. He'll turn the corner at midfield. And then the Wolfpack rally with Bishop Fitzgerald making the tackle on the Blue Devil running back, Taylor.
Yeah, guys, Jordan Waters has clearly elevated his game this season. 8 touchdowns, tied for all season last year. But he's also a Duke graduate. He walked the stage in spring with a degree in sociology and a minor in psychology. And when I talked to him on the phone, you could just hear the pride and smile through the phone. He said, I'm from Fairmont, North Carolina. I never thought I'd be at Duke, let alone get a degree from here. And guys, he uses that minor in psychology on the field. He says he's not much of a trash talker, uses reverse psychology instead, so already putting that degree to good work.
1st down and 10. Terrific run by Waters. Thank you, Taylor. And look at this play. Handoff to Waters, and guess who was in the mix? 11. Davin Van also for the Wolfpack, but Peyton Wilson on arrival.
It's an unbalanced line for Duke, and Peyton Wilson coming off of the short edge just wasn't having it. You see it just hits it. Basically, they're trying to trap him, pull McIntyre out to kick him out, but Peyton Wilson just hits it so fast that he's in the backfield before McIntyre can get to him.
You see the league leader in tackles, 4th in FBS. Just an amazing football player. That's Calhoun in motion. Beeland wants to throw, and just beyond the reach of Hazley, and Brown was there covering for NC State. But there was pressure coming from Peyton Wilson, and then Sean Brown in coverage, Taylor.
Guys, pretty strong words from defensive coordinator Tony Gibson on Peyton Wilson when we talked to him this week. He said, in 29 years of doing this, I've never had someone like him. He's always flying around. To put those numbers into context for you, he gave us, he said in practice, he averages about 7,200 to 7,500 yards. That's just in practice. And in last week's game against Marshall, nearly 10,000 yards covered. So Peyton Wilson, a beast on the field and a huge difference maker for the Wolfpack.
And they need him on 3rd down. Trailing 2 touchdowns. Beeland with time, down the field and in and out of the hands of Moore. Aiden White there defensively. Duke misses on 3rd down for the 4th time tonight. And NC State trailing by 14 points with under 5 to go. That's all 3 timeouts to see if they can get something cranked up offensively, Tim.
And this was a great throw by Beeland. Can't throw it any better. Right to the chin of Jordan Moore, who's breaking into the middle of the field versus a split safety look, and that would have been a huge pickup for the Blue Devil.
Porter Wilson hangs this high, and Coit asks for the fair catch and will make it. Timeout on the field, under 5 to go 1st half. 2 touchdown lead for Duke.
ACC Huddle Crew going to be with you coming up on the Auto Owners Insurance Halftime Report. We've got 2 undefeated teams that are in a battle right now with Louisville and North Carolina. No battle for Duke. How about Henry Beeland?
It's been impressive to see this, guys. I love the effort, love what they're doing. We'll see what they can do on the other side.
Tim, more coming for you.
All right, Kelsey, thanks. Congratulations to Eric McClain, by the way, for winning the Huddle 3-point challenge yesterday at Cameron. Here's Delbert Mims on 1st down. Worst starting spot tonight for the Wolfpack of a drive. He got a yard against Brandon Johnson and the Duke tackle.
You know, important drive here, obviously down 14 for North Carolina State, and you think getting the ball to start the 2nd half, coming away with points here would be a very big deal for MJ Morris in this offense.
So here's Morris. This is 2nd and a long 8. Quick throw. Mims dropped it. He was going to run into trouble out of the secondary with Johnson. So it'll be 3rd and long now for the Wolfpack of Dave Durham. Well, 8 miles away. Tyler Van Dyke. And that is Jacoby George. 14-7 at the time. Carolina's tied it late first half at 14 all in Chapel Hill. DeMarcus Jones is coming to the backfield with M.J. Morris. More on that coming up with Kelsey and the gang at the break. Here's Morris in trouble. Almost had it taken away and now will be sacked. Aeneas Peoples from Raleigh fighting through there to come up with Duke's first sack of the night.
And Duke just does a good job of being relentless to the quarterback. They bring pressure to Morris's left. He tries to climb in the pocket, but then you've got other players winning their matchups. It's Peoples originally. He gets pushed past M.J. Morris, but just continues to fight back, retrace steps to get back to him, and now Duke's going to end up with some really good field position.
Yep. Caden Noonkester drives it toward Calhoun back at the 38. Calhoun straight back up the middle. There is a marker down. Here's Calhoun, and he is gone. Touchdown for Duke. We'll see if it stands.
Third return, holding for receiving team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
So Mike Roach says the hold is on the Blue Devils. On the punt return, that would have been a touchdown for Jalen Calhoun. And as the rain begins to fall here in Durham, Duke had a chance to blow this open. More so than it is right now.
So we're going to get the hold call down here, and basically just ends up being a takedown. The shame of it for Duke is he's so far away from making the play with where Calhoun decides to end up returning this football.
It'll negate a 62-yard punt return by Jalen Calhoun for a score. So off the 28. Here's Beelan and the Blue Devils on their 7th possession of this first half and a 2-touchdown lead. And Moore firing for a first down to the 38, 39-yard line. Jaquez Moore, the junior from Florida, finally brought down by Sean Brown as you see the rain start to pick up here.
It just feels like the sky's opened up.
Yep. We had buckets of it this morning. Stopped about, I don't know, 1:30, 2 o'clock this afternoon, and there wasn't any expected to drift through here tonight, but hey, those guys, they get it right 4 out of every 10. 1st and 10 for the Blue Devils, and there's Peyton Wilson just shutting the door on Moore. My goodness.
Look, he just comes flying in there. Here he is. Watch him just play downhill. And again, it's beating the block. You talk about, you pull linemen to kind of get better angles, to get another hat in the hole in terms of kicking somebody out, and just can't get there sometimes with how quickly Peyton Wilson diagnoses the play and then will kind of fire his gun to get to the ball carrier.
Hornibrook was the lineman who was responsible for Wilson, just didn't get there. But a lot of people don't. Now Moore again, just into a stack, and it'll be 3rd down and probably close to 14.
NC State takes its first timeout.
There we go.
With your 30-second timeout.
So the Wolfpack burns the first of the 3 here because, Tim, they know it's got to be You got to have this thing on the other side of the ball here in a minute. You got to get at least one more crack at this.
Well, and clearly, you know, with a 14-point lead, I think probably some of the penalties that we've seen, Mike Elko, you know, relatively conservative offensively once they got the football back, obviously after the penalty. And so because of that, save some time.
Don't forget, Friday afternoons are ACC PM on site. Pac-Man's been all over the conference footprint so far in the first 7 weeks of coverage. Yesterday on campus here at Duke. ACC PM gets you ready for all of Saturday's college football action. Starts at 4 o'clock Eastern. ACC PM right here on ACC Network. So on a Saturday night at Wallace Wade, the Blue Devils with a 2-touchdown lead, but this is 3rd and 12 for Henry Beeland in his first career start tonight for the injured Riley Leonard. And Waters will keep it, going to reroute back here to the near side, and he will be taken out of bounds at the 39. And with 1:34 to go, Duke will punt.
And with Waters there, going out of bounds is a big mistake. Go ahead and you're not picking up the first down. Just go down right here and get stood up by Battle, but basically then ends up continuing to fight for yards, gets put out of bounds, and now NC State still has 2 timeouts left to operate in a 2-minute drive.
And Coit here, the sophomore, will have to look up into the rain to field Porter Wilson's punt. That is a good one. And he's going to give ground here, and it's going to check. And the Blue Devils are going to touch it up at the 5. So Porter Wilson got that ball to stop on a 56-yard punt that puts NC State 95 yards away. This looks like one of Hasselbeck's 60-degree offers right here.
I knew you were going there, but Wes, that checks up perfectly. You mentioned it was a good one. He boomed that, and if it's the rain that checks up, but it's a big special teams play.
Porter Wilson.
I mean, how about the special teams in general for Duke so far?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they have the penalty that negates the punt return, but you know, something that's been a bit of an issue for them, the kicking game, has been good tonight.
And MJ Morris, 5 of 12, just 39 yards of passing, sacked once, threw a pick. Michael Allen the carry. There's a flag down. Allen got 5 on the play with about 80 seconds to go in this first half. And we've got somebody shaken up for the Wolfpack. I believe it's Trent Penix, who we have not called his name tonight after a 2-touchdown Saturday last week.
Tripping, leg whip, offense number 56. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
That's on Lyndon Cooper, the left guard. Boy, and let me tell you, Penix, 49th career game. He'd had 9 catches in their last 4 games, including the 2 touchdowns he caught in 3 passes last week against Marshall.
Penix is a very good player, very versatile player.
Yep.
Good in the run game as a blocker. And, you know, as this play just got kind of strung out, he gets rolled up on number 6. See him kind of blocking at the point of attack on Moore, and just with the tackle, just it's like that left ankle as he's limping off the field with some help. And they don't need that. As North Carolina State is looking for players to step up and make some plays in the passing game, I think Penix is a guy that could do that. That's obviously not a good sign.
So the Wolfpack still with first down, now 13 after the penalty on half of the distance. And 1:20 to go. Both Jones and Mims in the backfield. And this is Delbert Mims. And he will get maybe 2 to the 5, and it'll be second down right at about 10 here with a minute to go.
Yeah, and I would have thought that Duke would have used the timeouts here. Like as quickly as you could, use a timeout, and you have 2 left. And because of that, like with this weather, I mean, look, you could get a punt snap that's, you know, inaccurate, backed up. You could have your punter, like all of those situations. So somewhat surprised that they didn't do that, but
Well, neither Duke nor State, Tim, closing the game down here a little bit. So 30 seconds left on 2nd and long, and another run play by the Wolfpack. And that's Mims, and Mike Elko called one here. Yep, 24 seconds left. He'll have one
takes it, second time
to go. And you see Delbert Mims and Brandon Johnson continuing a conversation that I think started about 2 snaps ago. Boy, an NC State who had such a good vibe offensively, Tim, last Saturday after the Marshall game, has, with the unforced errors won on the penalty side, and then Duke's pretty sharp defensively here in this first 30 minutes too. It's been a fight for the Wolfpack of themselves and the team they're playing.
Wes, I think that is a great point. Look, they really were clicking on almost all cylinders a week ago. And what I think that speaks to is the 2 things you mentioned. Some of these penalties have just been brutal.
Right.
For the Wolfpack, you know, on both sides of the ball, but that has not helped one bit. You got a quarterback turning the football over. Now the weather has changed, and it feels like we're looking at a different NC State offense.
Duke has a timeout left. It's 3rd and 5 for Morris. NC State has 2, and Morris is going to keep it. And he will get the first down and then some. And here's MJ Morris with 19 seconds left. And boy, he took a big forearm from Stinson rather, as he got to the 25, 26-yard line, and 15 seconds to go here.
And I believe the officials, because he's going backwards when he goes out of bounds, contacted inbounds, going backwards as he goes out of bounds. The clock is going to run once they reset it after the first down, and I think NC State is going to be content to take this to halftime.
So the Wolfpack is going to walk this off, and that will do it. Henry Beelan, 2 big touchdown passes, and the Blue Devil defense has delivered the goods. And they've got a 2-touchdown lead on NC State as we join Kelsey Riggs for the Auto Owners Insurance Halftime Report.
Welcome to the Auto Owners Insurance Halftime Report.
Well, the rain kind of snuck back up on us a little bit, but it looks like maybe it is tampering off just a tad as Duke has a 17-3 lead in the first half. No Riley Leonard, no problem so far as Henry Beelan has taken this offense off to a hot start as we say hello from inside Wallace Wade Stadium alongside Eddie Royal, Eric McLean, EJ Manuel. I'm Kelsey Riggs. Great to be with you. We had questions about what we would see from Henry Beelan. You guys were pretty confident in what we would see from this Duke team. How have they showed you kind of what you expected?
Yeah, I mean, they decided when to take their shots. I mean, Kevin Johns came out with a great game plan. Early on, it didn't look great with the interception, but Beelan bounced back, and they found a one-on-one matchup, ran a double move, and he threw a great pass to get a big play from Jalen Calhoun. So calling a good game plan, you got to do the same thing in the second half and take care of the ball.
I think they're just chopping away, running the football, right? What we're really seeing is 2 great defenses playing at a very high level. And again, it comes down to explosive plays. Each team has a turnover, so that kind of balances things out. But I love that pass. I mean, it was confident. It was on a rope. Great throw there. And just who can chop away more in this second half.
What I love from Duke's defense, after that pick by Beelan early in the game, they got to stop. Held NC State to just a field goal. That's a big difference for a young quarterback, especially you come off to the sideline, feeling bad, think you're letting down your team, where your defense goes out, holds the guys to 3, and then you saw the long pass for a touchdown. Duke got rolling.
Held NC State to just a field goal, but it was a 57-yard field goal.
Credit. A couple of 50-yard
kicks. They've had
history.
Great performance.
It's a record. Longest in history. Shout out to Zach.
So 17-3 right now is the score with Duke in the lead. Bringing it against an undefeated Louisville team. We've got the highlights coming up.
Boys look cold.
This halftime report is presented by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
No, he right.
Meanwhile, we've got a great game going on here in Durham, North Carolina. This Duke offense rolling. The guys like what they've seen from the defense, too. It's a 17-3 lead for the Blue Devils at the break.
This halftime report is presented by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
Well, first meeting since the pandemic year 2020 between the Wolfpack and Blue Devils, and Duke's got a 17-3 lead as we get ready to start half number 2 tonight here at Wallace Wade Stadium. Great to be with Tim Hasselbeck, Taylor Tannenbaum in just a moment. We could show you stats. It's really about big plays, and Henry Beeling getting his first career start tonight. Maybe a little wobbly early, but he did have big plays.
Yeah.
And it's part of our New York Life Drive summary.
And I may say, penalties and big plays, but certainly big plays, Wes, no doubt about it. As we get to the New York Life Drive recap, it really was a tough start. First pass was batted. Then he throws a terrible interception, backed up. And you thought, wait a second, is he going to struggle? Maybe Riley Leonard calmed him down, because after that, hits a big double move to Calhoun for a touchdown. Then the Duke defense rises to the occasion, gives them great field position, and on a hard play action, he's able to throw his second touchdown pass of the night. So Henry Beeland, who gets off to that rough start, kind of ends up rebounding, settling things down, gets the big plays, and the big plays have Duke with a 14-point lead.
15 total penalties, 100 yards in the first half. Almost all of the 9 impacted NC State some way or another.
No doubt about it. Big ones on defense. A lot of pre-snap penalties. As you just look at Duke, 0 for 5 on third down.
Yep.
Typically when that happens, you're not winning the football game, but certainly been an issue. And look, you see the quarterbacks warming up. That's Brennan Armstrong. I would not put a lot of the issues offensively on MJ Morris, but if you do need a spark, it would not surprise me if it's something that Dave Dorn thinks about doing.
Yeah. NC State will let the kick from Charlie Ham go over their head. Wolfpack will start from their 25, Taylor.
Yeah, guys, I talked to Mike Elko going into halftime. He was pretty pleased with the performance from his team in the first half. As for Henry Beeland, he said he was pretty calm, he was good, but it's the other people around him that need to step up. I talked to NC State head coach Dave Dorn as he ran onto the field, coming out a little late from the locker room. He said that's about as bad of a first half as we could have offensively between the penalties, putting themselves in bad down and distance situations. He said, wake up in the second half, guys.
Well, we suspected it might be a lot of the unforced stuff had to be cleaned up, and here's Michael Allen trying to break away on the first snap, but Al Blades crashed in from the corner spot and was able to hold Allen to maybe just 2 steps.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising that Dave Dorn's furious, with his team about, especially his offense, about the pre-snap penalties. Because when you do that, it makes it so hard to sustain drives, and you're doing it with a quarterback who's making his first start on the road, and I think it just ends up being hard.
And here's the other thing too, not only the penalties, Duke had, if you count the interception returned by Freeman, they had 5 plays of 20 yards or more. NC State had none in the first half. And this is Julian Gray, who we saw banged up a little bit in the first half. Pick up 5 yards on second down there.
And I think because it's been such a struggle to throw the football, what we've seen is these receivers, Julian Gray, Concepcion, like these guys in the backfield, whether it's been some type of jet motion through the backfield or even lined up in the backfield to give them the football. And that's why on this third down, I would think that this ball, they're probably looking to get it to number 10 in the slot.
State's just 1 of 6 on third down. Blue Devils bring 5. Morris a quick throw, and Concepcion the first down catch to the 40-yard line. And Morris shaken up on the play. He took a big hit as he let it go.
Well, he gets hit hard. He delivers a great throw, but right kind of to the midsection there, and You know, when that happens, it's usually one of two things. Is Jalen Stinson really delivered a good shot to him? Either it's knocking the wind out of you, could be ribs, anything like that, but you see him up and you see Brennan Armstrong starting to dry his hands off on this rainy night.
So a fresh set of downs for the Wolfpack at their 40. Concepcion got the handoff and taken down behind the line by Dwayne Carter. Loss of 1 on the play, and Robert Anand now is just trying to find anything to get the ball to his playmakers, Tim.
Yeah, and listen, it is about players, not plays, and the problem with that, though, is getting your 180-something pound receiver the football is when you've got a 305-pound defensive tackle unblocked in the hole you're trying to run the football to. You're not going to have much success.
Mims in the backfield here with Morris on 2nd and 11. Concepcion started with 36 yards on his first 2 carries. His last 2 have netted him a loss of 3. Here's Morris, quick throw to the near side. The catch is made. That's Keon Lassane, and he's taken out of bounds right around the 40-41 by Blades. And tell you what, Mike Elko's defensive front, Tim, causing some problems tonight.
Listen, they're big and they're active. I mean, just, I mentioned Carter, 305 pounds, but like, look, there's activity there. And Graham Barton was talking to us about facing this defensive line in practice. He's like, look, that's how I knew we were going to be good this year, was our defensive line. How hard they play, how talented they are, and how they get under your skin.
3rd down and 8 now for the Wolfpack. Blue Devils bring 4. Morris cuts it loose. Lassane hangs on at the Duke 43 for the first down. Boy, MJ puts it on you now, Tim.
Yeah, listen, he's got a live arm, and he does it under some duress here. The hit comes late. Does a decent job of just kind of drifting a little bit in the pocket. And you start to feel those throughout the night, but that was an excellent throw. High-low read, and is able to hit Lassane on the in cut.
Wesley Williams, little love tap on Morris after he cut it loose. So the Wolfpack now in Duke territory at the 43. Now the Blue Devil pressure and a sack. Second time they've gotten to Morris tonight. Terry Moore and Mausi combine on the sack of MJ Morris.
You get some of these formations where all the receivers are out to the top of the screen, and then here comes Moore. Just look at this, does an excellent job of being elusive. You get a secondary player blitzing on a back that's coming across the formation. You don't need to necessarily take him on. Use your quickness to your advantage. That's what Terry Moore does, and gets home for the sack.
Terry Moore from down at Little Washington in eastern North Carolina. Loss of 10 on the play. 2nd and 20 for Durham in the pack. Morris to Lassane, and a big lick from Freeman at midfield. Tim, we came into the game, and the numbers on Duke defensively were really impressive, especially 11.5 points a game. The pressure and the physicality they played with tonight has been A++.
Wes, I'm so glad you said that. The physical nature of how they're playing football. And look, I think it starts with the guys up front. They're really talented. They're older. They're veteran players. There's a maturity. But I think we've seen a lot of guys, when all 11 on the field flying around, willing to hit.
So here is 3rd and 17 for Morris in the pack. Up in the pocket, he will shoot it downfield, and it is almost picked off the deflection by Terry Moore at the Duke 20.
So I know it's 3rd and a long ways, but that ball is thrown into a lot of traffic. I think MJ's got to be careful with some of these. So the underneath coverage by Cam Dillon, he does a great job of just getting so much depth, and is able to get a hand on the deep cross that MJ Morris is trying to throw.
Like Dillon, Blades, and then it was almost Moore on the back end for the pick. Here's the punt, and Noonkester gets it away. There's no flag as he went to the deck, and that ball went out of bounds. And boy, I think Dave Dorn is kind of curious how there wasn't a flag on his punter here. But nonetheless, the Blue Devils hold the Wolfpack. Duke will touch it next when we come back up 2 scores. The ACC's Committee for Racial and Social Justice, in conjunction with its member institutions, have identified October 14th to the 22nd as ACC Unity Week. With Tim Hasselbeck, Taylor Tannenbaum, West Durham at Wallace Wade Stadium, we're looking on at the 84th meeting all-time between Duke and NC State, and the Blue Devils with a 2-touchdown lead in the first ever start for Henry Beelan IV out of the Bronx in New York. And Duke starts it at 17 after NC State opened the second half. And here is Jordan Waters running free. And nobody touched him. Touchdown, Duke. 83 yards. Wow, Tim.
So it was well blocked. It was hit hard, and next thing you know, plenty of speed by Waters. And how about Duke's ability to run the football against this front? North Carolina State, shocking.
Polino for the point. The lead is 3 touchdowns.
Look at what Duke does. I mean, Duke gets into an unbalanced look. Because there's an offensive tackle. He's blocking down, and you're going to have Jalen Scott just come way too far up the field because he's worried about the quarterback. And because of that, it creates a huge running lane for Waters, and he just takes off too much speed, and the Duke Blue Devils are rolling.
Well, Duke has taken full control of the game on Jordan Waters' home run. And I use the baseball analogy because it was one swing on the possession. And he goes 87 yards. It's the 6th longest run in Duke history.
Not sure he was touched.
He wasn't. To your point, they got the one block they needed, and 7 did the rest. Here is Gray now, taking it to the far side, and out of bounds up near the 30-yard line is where Julian Gray will get the Wolfpack cranked up, but they're down 3 scores now with 8:41 to go. And, well, down the road at Kenan Stadium, Drake May, they're wearing the throwbacks from the 90s tonight, and Tez Walker in the end zone from 56 yards, Tim.
Well, listen, obviously a big story through the start of this college football season, his status, and I think it was very clear that they felt like he could have been for the whole season kind of a 10-touchdown kind of guy, and obviously making an impact tonight.
Jordan Waters has got a career-high 117. NC State's got Kendrick Raphael with MJ Morris on 1st and 10. Morris going to cut it loose and overshoots Concepcion out at the 45 with Trey Freeman, the linebacker, hanging around. And now the Wolfpack, Tim, in some respects, you haven't run the ball very well tonight. You've only got 88 yards of rushing, 75 yards of passing. You're almost becoming one-dimensional here, down 3 scores, if you want to try and get back in this. Out in the flat, this is Allen. And he will get back to the original line and maybe a yard more before he's knocked into the bench by Dwayne Carter.
Well, listen, you're one-dimensional. Part of the reason why, just look at the blue jerseys flying to the football. This, is, for all intents and purposes, was a run by North Carolina State. Just throw the little flare screen. It's essentially a sweep. But look at the blue jerseys running sideline to sideline. Good job of Al Blades of forcing it inside. And then here comes the cavalry following everything up to get the ball carried to the ground. And it's really what the Wolfpack have faced all night.
3rd down and 9. You see Rooks from the near side. Here's Morris in trouble again, trying to break free and almost threw it to Miles Jones. Instead, it's incomplete, and now 3rd and 9 becomes 4th down.
And I think the rush is becoming a big issue for MJ Morris at this point. I actually thought this was picked up a pressure. His eyes come down quickly. And, you know, as he's trying to get rid of that football, nearly throws another interception. And it's been a struggle for him tonight. And I think that the hits are starting to take their toll.
6th punt of the night for Noonkester. And here's Calhoun at the 20. Made 2 miss, but Peyton Wilson, I believe, is the guy that finally made the tackle. No, that's not Wilson, another Wolfpack player down there. Real quick, don't forget, stay tuned. Post-game from here in Durham tonight. Kelsey Riggs in the ACC huddle. Full recap of the day in the ACC. And boy, it's got a little interesting here tonight at some venues around the league. All the highlights, much more, live guests and more. ACC Huddle right here on ACC Network. There are some surprises tonight in a lot of venues.
Well, I mean, how about the fact that Duke has scored 24 points and Henry Beelan has only completed 4 passes?
Yeah. Here is Beelan and the Blue Devils from their 26 after the Waters TD run got them on the board in the 2nd half. And Jaquez Moore will get a yard or 2 here toward the 28. You know, we're afforded an opportunity to sit and visit with these coaches, Tim. And yesterday, Mike Elko, Kevin Johns, the offensive coordinator, Tyler Santucci, the defensive coordinator, they were terrific with their time with us. And I think Kevin Johns and Mike Elko, from an offensive perspective, were excited to see Henry Beelan. But there were questions about, you know, what would the awareness be like? What would the game management be like once, you know, you get in an ACC game against a team that runs a unique defensive set like NC State does? Here's 2nd and 8 now. Beelan will tuck and be sandwiched shy of the 30. The other note that was brought up was, how will he battle and adjust to the unknown? And I think he's played with a lot of poise tonight, given it's his first start and only his 3rd game of the year.
Yeah, and he look, obviously makes an early mistake, but after that early mistake, he's made good decisions. He's done a good job, like he did on that 2nd down right there, of when it's not there, just run forward, like cut your losses. And I think doing that, and then just staying in it, making the throws that you need to make. Yes, it's only 4 completions, but 2 of them have been for touchdowns.
Wolfpack showing blitz. Beelan hit as he throws and overshoots the intended receiver. That was Jordan Moore, the closest Duke player. Devin Boykin came firing through. And NC State has forced the 3 and out for the Blue Devils.
You know, I think that, you know, part of what's happening as well is, I think this is what good coaches do. I think Mike Elko has kind of seen enough to say, look, we're not throwing the ball great, but we're running it okay. But North Carolina State's really struggling offensively. Like they're not doing much against us. And so because of that, look, I'm going to try to manage this game accordingly.
And Coit makes a play on a dangerous bounce off the punt from Porter Wilson and is hit promptly right there. But NC State, boy, they've gotten terrific play tonight defensively. Beelan has also helped. 3-touchdown lead for Duke.
Welcome back to Durham. Hey, Wes, Tim, you guys keep mentioning the crazy day in the ACC. Make sure on Monday, every day of the week, you tune into ACC Network for ACC PM starting at 4 o'clock. And this upcoming Friday, Pack will be on the road, either in Miami or Tallahassee. That's to be seen. But ACC PM daily, guys, tune in.
Heck yeah. Concepcion rolls on the ground for a reception. Just, I think, his second catch of the night for KC Concepcion. Third catch of the night, Taylor. He got 6 there.
Yeah, tight end Trent Penix was huge for MJ Morris last week with 2 touchdowns. He will be without him for the rest of the half, out with a lower body injury, they are calling it. I saw him on the sideline visibly frustrated, punching one fist into the other hand, but he is standing, roaming the sidelines, limping, still trying to hype up his teammates, guys.
Yep. Second down 4 here from Morris and the Wolfpack, who are down 3 touchdowns. It's been a terrific night for Duke's defense, in addition to the efforts they've gotten offensively of the big play variety. And stretching out to make the catch for the Wolfpack is Terrell Timmons Jr., sophomore from Greensboro, first catch of the night. He had a couple grabs for 51 last Saturday in the win against the Herd.
It's a really nice route. You see him get Miles Jones turned around, stems him inside, breaks out to the corner, and is able to secure the football. And kind of feel like North Carolina State thought that they'd be able to do more of that earlier in this football game.
First down and 10 for Morris. He's going to take the deep shot. There was a collision there. Is there going to be a flag? No, that was Timmons again. And we have a flag in the backfield here. Miles Jones, the Texas A&M transfer, the 6'4" corner.
Holding. Offense number 74. 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's on Anthony Belton, the left tackle.
Belton's the left tackle, and he's working on Carter, who's now outside, the big fella. And that definitely could be called a hug or a hold, whichever you want. And, you know, I think part of what happens is I think got to give some attention and love to this Duke defensive line.
Yep. First and 20 after the penalty. Blue Devils only rushing 3 here. Morris with time. That's Concepcion, middle of the field. A catch and roll to the Blue Devil 43 and a first down. Tim, they are marvelously tutored by Jess Simpson, who's worked at a lot of different levels of football, as a terrific high school coach in the Atlanta area, and he's done a whale of a job with this defensive front for Duke.
Yeah, they've done a great job. You look at Concepcion, does a great job of just kind of understanding where the soft spot in that zone is. For a young player, I have to tell you, if there's been a bright spot tonight, it's been KC Concepcion, and his ability in the backfield as a receiver, he's been excellent.
Here's Morris. He's going to take the deep shot now down the far sideline. And he was looking for Concepcion there. Brandon Johnson in coverage with the young freshman from Charlotte. And there's Brandon Johnson. He and Terry Moore really around the football a lot tonight from the secondary for the Blue Devils.
That's a very, good point when you talk about it. Tyler Santucci has, you see him right there, just a sip of caffeine. I don't think he needs a big gulp of it, because his group up front has been really good. I mean, the defensive line has been excellent, but Wes, I think you're right. You think about the times we've talked about Terry Moore, Jalen Stinson, some of the plays that they've made tonight.
Yep. Second and 10. Again, just a 3-man rush. Another shot down the field, and overthrown is Timmons, with Johnson there again in coverage. I think Morris is litigating a little bit. And Santucci's defense, 3rd in the ACC, 18th nationally at under 300 yards a game. But Mike Elko was quick to point out we're only allowing 11 points a game. And so far tonight, they've allowed 3.
It's so, coming out of this game, if they can hold this, obviously that will get everybody's attention, the type of defense that Duke is putting out on the field and the job that these coaches have done.
Yep. Morris will keep it here, and that is Rivers coming in from the secondary at the corner spot to make the play on MJ Morris.
Part of what happens too, we keep talking about the players, and rightfully so, they've won matchups. That's a great example on a 3rd down. They walk up guys into the line of scrimmage. Then they bail them out and bring an overload blitz from the offense's right. And on a design quarterback run, it just distorts everything for the offensive lineman up front. And there you are making a tackle for virtually no gain. So it has been a combination of good play calls as well as just players winning individual matchups.
4th and 11 with 3 minutes to go in the third, and the Wolfpack going for it. Morris in trouble, breaks away briefly, but Johnson got enough to trip up MJ Morris. And Duke will take over on downs, the 4th sack of the night for the Blue Devils.
And this fits into the defensive call category because it's just a blitz that wins versus the protection. So you have an unblocked defender at the top of the screen, Brandon Johnson, and listen, you get a defender as agile as Johnson in the backfield on your quarterback on 4th and 11. You don't stand a chance as a quarterback, and it's a perfectly timed play call by Tyler Santucci, and this Duke defense continues to rise to the occasion.
Well, NC State after 7 downs will give it back to the Blue Devils in plus territory.
And Wes, if I can, when we look at this graphic right here, this is FBS rank.
Yeah.
This is not in the ACC. This is all of college football, and that's what Duke's defense is doing. It's remarkable.
Yep. And here's Waters in the backfield with Beelan. And Henry Beelan's going to be trapped and dropped as the Wolfpack was able to get Jalen Scott, the strong side linebacker. And there's Red Hibbler, their leader in sacks and tackles for loss as well. Well, and Tim, another way to measure this, NC State's closest spot in territory is the Duke 38 tonight.
Just haven't been able to sustain drives, haven't been able to come up with big plays. And
2nd down and 13 after the play by Scott. And here's Waters. And right into the teeth. Devon Betty, first guy there for State. And NC State, who had a little bit of momentum last week after the win against.
So I want you to look at this, Wes. This is interesting here. Just look at the formation. That's a tight end, but that's also a tight end. When you look at these guys here, this is an unbalanced line. And I think what Duke has decided to do tonight to basically line up against this 3-3-5 front is give them that odd, offensive formation that kind of forces you to declare your front. And they've done an excellent job, obviously not there, but running the football against it tonight.
And another play behind the line here. And that time Price got involved. Trevall Price with Peyton Wilson. And Duke will have to punt with Porter Wilson here.
Obviously not a great drive there by Duke, but I think you just look at what the plan was. And, talking about Tyler Santucci and the job that he's done with that Duke defense, well, I think Kevin Johns had a pretty good plan with a quarterback making his first start who's only completed a few passes. At the same time, they've been able to find ways to really run the football. And I think some of it has been with some unique formations.
Porter Wilson and Coit will ask for and make the fair catch. And in the final half minute of this third period, how about our Bojangles Big Bo moment tonight? Speaking of the Blue Devil defense, that's who we'll focus on here.
And listen, they just have won the line of scrimmage, and by winning the line of scrimmage, it's allowed some of these other players to just fly to the football. And you see Al Blades Jr. in the picture. We talked to him, and he just said there's a maturity, there's a belief, and there's a belief from these coaches and the players. And he really felt like, it was a group that could win, that there was something special. And it feels like it watching them play tonight.
Yeah, Blades has been just one of a handful of guys out of the secondary that's been really good tonight for the Blue Devils. Here's Morris, quick throw, Concepcion the catch at the 15, and he's got the first down as he's pushed across the 20. I'll tell you what, Casey Concepcion is really tough, Tim.
Listen, he's very. I was down on the field before the game coming up, and Torrey Holt run into him on my way up, and I'll tell you what, there's been some good receivers. Torrey Holt's in the building. There's been some good receivers that have played for the school, but this kid is off to a really special start in terms of what we've been able to see from him as a true freshman.
Yep. And that will be the end of the third quarter. Well, Mike Elko, 12-0 as the Blue Devil head coach when leading after 3. The advantage is 21 points, and he's going to talk to Taylor next.
Back here in Durham for the fourth quarter, Duke up 24-3. Coach, at halftime, you told me you wanted some other people around Henry Beeland to step up. How about a Jordan Waters 83-yard touchdown?
Yeah, that's what we need. We got to be able to keep the run game going. We're going to still need to run the ball to finish this thing out. We got to be able to throw it to and protect. So happy with where we're at right now. We got to finish.
As a defensive guy, what about your defense here tonight?
Yeah, so far so good, but we got one more quarter to play.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, thank you.
Locked in, and here is Michael Allen on the first snap of quarter number 4. Trey Freeman, the tackle for the Blue Devils. Head coach keep those arms folded, but a couple more like that, and there'll be a challenge. Not to the officials, to his team. MJ Morris trying to find something here for NC State. And there's Concepcion, another catch. Freeman, the linebacker, rallies up on Concepcion's 6th catch of the night. He is still, by the way, NC State's leading rusher in the game too, Tim.
Which is, there's no way that that's the plan. I know they're trying to get him the football, and I know that they'll put him in the backfield and hand it to him, but when we talk to Robert and I, and the issue with this, with Concepcion, is that it's 185 pounds.
And they'll check on him. We'll step aside here at Wallace Wade. Don't forget Thursday night on ACC Network, women's soccer headlines starts at 6 o'clock Eastern. That means only 2 hours of ACC PM with BC and Wake Forest. And then number 11 Notre Dame and number 3 North Carolina. Carolina and Florida State, the only 2 ACC teams without a loss this season. That's for you Thursday night on ACC Network, always available on the ESPN app. 2nd down and 4 after Concepcion came off. They toss it to Keon Lassane on the sweep, and ball got loose on the hit, and the Blue Devil bench says they have it.
Well, and Miles Jones just makes an awesome play from the corner position. Big contact on Lassane, the ball carrier. And I think he knew he popped that ball out.
Anthony Belton litigating on behalf of the Wolfpack, and that's where it will stay. Terry Moore, I think, would like another verdict, but not going to get it. And you get a look at VJ Anthony, the talented sophomore. Look at Miles Jones, the transfer from A&M.
I mean, just willing. We talked about the physicality of this Duke football team. That's a corner. Sticking his nose in there and pops that football out, and NC State fortunate to be able to recover it, but a lot of blue jerseys once again around the football.
Those are the kind of hits that kind of make you feel sore up here. 3rd and short here, and Mims, who is their short yardage guy for tough yardage, he gets stacked up. And Tim, if that's a play that defines the night for Duke, that's it.
Yeah, a couple of things. One, the defensive line for Duke, yes, but playing on the offensive side of the line of scrimmage, and then for NC State, you got backs running into each other in the backfield. Is not exactly what you're looking for on a 3rd and short.
And now 4th down, and as he did earlier, Dave Doran's going for this too. Morris to Mims, right side, and he crosses the 45. He'll easily have the 1st down. And from the 47 is where NC State's 1st down snap will occur.
And I think at this point, Wes, 12 minutes left in the game, down 21, and so just something to spark your offense. So pick up the first down. Maybe on this drive you have a gadget play. Maybe you jump into tempo. Just something to kind of kickstart you offensively. Just give you a little bit of life to feel like you can fight your way back in this.
Yeah, just the Narveson field goal off the battle interception. The only points tonight that NC State has. And here's Morris with a flag thrown. And now MJ trying to work here to the near side. He got bumped as he got to the out of bounds stick by Cam Dillon, the linebacker.
Holding. Offense, number 54. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That's McMahon, the center.
And once again, it's the defensive line. You just look at what happens. It's a full-on takedown as he's getting run over by Aaron Hall. You know, another name that we're calling right now on this Duke defensive line.
Yep. And another local guy. Played at Southern Durham. Second down, or first down rather, and now Lassane again on the perimeter from Morris, and the Blue Devils are there in a hurry, headed by Anthony Nelson. Nelson is the Harvard transfer. When you think about it, their coach was a safety at Penn in the Ivy League when they won the '99 Ivy League title. It's big of a Harvard guy to transfer in and play for the Penn guy, right?
Well, and part of what happens too is, listen, he's a guy he's graduated college. He's a mature player, and I think that part of what happens when you get some of these mature players, whether they play in the Ivy League, FCS, FBS, you understand what it takes and the commitment and the effort, and we're seeing it tonight.
Here's Morris eluding pressure again, and he'll have to tuck and run. And MJ Morris gets into Blue Devil territory. Well, you mentioned the transfers. When you look at where they are defensively, Al Blades, Miami. Miles Jones, Texas A&M. We're not seeing Jeremiah Lewis tonight, who started at Duke, went to Northwestern, has come back to Duke. And then you look, Cam Dillon, Columbia, Jeremiah Lewis, Northwestern, Hornibrook on the offensive line's a Stanford guy. We mentioned Nelson a moment ago. Tim, how many times have we seen it? Intentional guys from the portal, right?
Yeah, and I think that the coaches have to do a good job of evaluating those players as players, but then also as fits with your program, and I think they feel like they've hit it out of the park with it.
Michael Allen backs up for a couple yards.
I think the issue is, sometimes you add transfers, grad transfers, guys that maybe only have 1 year left, and with that, it's all right. Well, are you using the program, or do you really want to be a part of the program and invested in the program? And I'll just use, for example, our time with Al Blades yesterday. He's genuinely happy to be here, happy to be coached by these coaches, and I think that says a lot about the culture that's been formed here at Duke in a short period of time under Mike Elko.
Yep. Here's the fourth down play. Longest drive of the night for the Wolfpack. This is the 10th play. Morris is going to take the home run shot for Anthony Smith, who makes a diving attempt and can't come up with it. He had gotten around Al Blades Jr. Couldn't flag it down. NC State's going to cash it out on downs. Duke 24, NC State 3. More in a moment.
You want to set a record here at Duke, right? I do. Okay, so we've loaded up the bar. You've made a mental decision. You're going to lift this weight, right?
Let's go.
Okay, let's go. So the first thing we're going to do, come on over here, chalk up your hands, rub that in. Yep. Music's going. Everybody's fired up, grinding away on weights. How do you stop the whole room? And the whole room. Whoa! In there, over on that rack, ready for you or Jacob Monk to hit a program record in the power play.
Okay, more on David Feely and Taylor Tannenbaum going for the personal record here in just a moment. Is Jalen Cal? All right, now, what, you ringing the bell with Coach Feely down there, Taylor?
My ears are still ringing, and there's no video evidence that I ever lifted a weight. He's done a great job with the athletes here at Duke. But guys, we have to give a special shout out because we have one of our own Duke athletes on our ACC primetime squad.
Yeah.
Ashley Shanley, she's going to be so mad at us right now. A 4-year member of the Duke swim team from 2013 to 17. She's our field producer. Even in her senior year, she swam for an NCAA championship. On Sunday, got to give her a shout out. She ran the Chicago Marathon in a personal best time of 3 hours, 35 minutes, and 54 seconds. Ran it with her sisters, Lauren and Molly. Ashley, we have watched you train. We are so proud of you, and now she's probably not going to talk to us the rest of the night.
You see the carry by Moore, but wait, Ashley, it's not over. Tim, we got action photos from the pool, right?
Well, we learned that she can run, and she's running marathons. We knew that she could swim, and
then
I would say that she'd probably run enough for everybody on the crew.
Yeah.
Wes, that's why you and I don't run?
That's
Is that why?
Yeah, Ashley covers us. Congratulations, Ashley, last week in Chicago. Marvelous. And thanks for helping us get Coach Feely on the show with ringing the bell and the Duke Strength and Conditioning Program. That aspect's been on display tonight, too. And the Blue Devils taking charge of this game, and Jordan Waters capped it early in the second half. That's Moore. Duke has thrown the ball once in the second half tonight, Tim. Henry Beeland's numbers tonight. He is 4 for 12 for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. The home run ball to Calhoun, and then off the Freeman interception, the pass to Hazley for the touchdown.
And I think that's just Duke managing the game by, Mike Elko understanding the situation, probably talking to Kevin Johns about, look, they're not moving the football on us. Let's continue to run it. To win a game with 4 completions and let me back up. To win a game by 21 points, which is the margin right now,
right,
with 4 completions, tells you that a lot went wrong, in other areas for NC State, and a lot went right in terms of running the football and how you play defense for Duke.
Yeah, well, and here's the other aspect about this tonight. This is a team now coming off heartbreak 2 weeks ago, Tim, in a game they felt like they played well enough to win. Right?
Yeah.
And had the one bust defensively on the Sam Hartman 4th down play, and then the estimate touchdown run that proved to be the difference.
Wes, it's a great point. I mean, these guys are, just look a play or two away from being a 6-0 football team. 5-0 coming into the night, and then obviously, as we sit here now with this margin, a 6-0 football team.
Well, and by the way, the team they lost to 2 weeks ago just routed Southern California tonight. I mean, this is where this now sets up, and you see the games on ACC Network next Saturday at noon and 3:30, and then you'll see the rest of the schedule when decisions are made tonight, later, or certainly tomorrow morning. But this football team that has this performance tonight off a bye week goes to Tallahassee next Saturday.
And Mike Elko did allude to us. He said, it was a disappointing loss against Notre Dame, and so he wanted the players to be encouraged by how they've played and what they've done and how much better they've gotten. And I think he wanted his coaches to know, like, hey guys, think about what we took over 2 years ago, and not even a full 2 years ago, and where we are now. We said it off the top of the show. Week 5 college game days here for that game. And seeing them play tonight,
yeah.
Look, Riley Leonard is going to get a lot of attention, and rightfully so. And we'll talk about, when he's going to be back from that ankle injury. But part of the story here is this Duke defense and how for real they are.
Porter Wilson going to let the play clock wind down to 1. And now he will sail it over the head of Coit. And Rivers can't quite get to it, and that'll get us to a timeout. 24-3. Duke in control tonight at home. Well, tonight's playmaker of the game presented by Honey Baked Ham. And we thought number 7 might have to have a big ball game with Henry Beeland starting his first game at the cube spot for Duke. And Jordan Waters put this thing to bed in the 3rd quarter with the 6th longest run in Duke history. 87 yards. On the way to a career high night. And here's Morris flush from the pocket. Trey Freeman around the slide of MJ Morris. And Riley Leonard put the hat on back, means the game's over. I'm good. It'll be another week of trying to get better, and who knows, maybe he can go next Saturday at Tallahassee.
Well, and how about that, Wes? You know, with the situation in terms of Riley Leonard, look, he's such a good runner. High ankle sprain. You know, you think having another week to rest, like that's a big deal. To get a win, it's a team in your conference, completing 4 passes with your backup quarterback, and giving Riley Leonard another week where he doesn't re-injure that ankle.
Yeah.
That's another big thing for Duke.
Yeah. It's
not that we know he's going to be back for sure next week against Florida State, but certainly more likely than if he were to get rolled up on tonight.
Yep. So here's a first down after the catch by Timmons a moment ago. MJ Morris squares it up, middle of the field throw to Kendrick Raphael. Youngster from Naples, Florida with the grab. Under 3 minutes to go. Well, NC State is going to find themselves at 1-2 in the ACC, and they will have a bye week before Clemson goes to Raleigh. The Tigers on the bye this week at Miami next Saturday. And the Canes trailing by 3 scores in the final period at Chapel Hill. Here's Morris loading up again. He'll shoot it to Raphael at the 45. Freeman on another stop for the Duke defense. And Tim, we've had ourselves quite a day in the ACC. The Noles set the bar early in the day. They held Syracuse to under 275 yards and posted a 41-3 win. Virginia Tech got a heck of a performance from Kyron Drones. Boy, you really did something there a couple weeks ago, didn't you, against Pitt?
Well, he's an interesting player because he's so big and so strong that you have to account for him as a runner, which opens things up in the passing game.
Deep shot for Smith. Or Timmons rather, incomplete. Drones finished 20 of 29 for 321 and 2 scores. 321's a career high. And the Hokies win against Wake Forest. And the biggest shocker of the night is at Acrisure Stadium tonight, where Pitt scored 38 points in beating Louisville by 17. The Panthers were 3 touchdown underdogs at home to the Cards tonight of Jeff Brom. Here's Morris on second in the full 10. And a delivery of a pass to the middle of the field. Dillon the hit on Raphael.
You just think about that Pitt score, Wes. I mean, Pitt switches quarterbacks. They've really struggled. Christian Veilleux, who got the start, really had not, shown that it was going to be much different for the Pitt Panthers offensively, and that is a really surprising score. It's a Louisville team that had been a pleasant surprise.
Yep, and beat Notre Dame handily last week. Third down converted on the throw there. That's Rosner's catch. Well, here is the kind of the turning point in the game. You see 24-21 late in the third, and Plummer, and look who it is. If it's a pick six, it's got to be MJ Devonshire. Tim, that is 82 yards. How about that?
I mean, it's one way, if you're a team that's struggling on offense, one way to fix that is just go ahead and score on defense. And
Well, NC State has moved to the Duke 26. Their furthest advancement tonight with the football comes with 1:15 to go. Well, another grab by Rosner for 16 yards. And now we have a Blue Devil timeout taken. Coaching points for Mike Elko, even in a 3-touchdown lead when we continue. Well, stay tuned. They're going to turn the lights on, they promise. Kelsey Riggs, Eddie Royal. Eric McLean, by the way, I think wins suit of the day. He topped Eddie and EJ by the way, Tim. ACC Huddle coming up. Tiffany Hall helping out down there tonight on the set. 1st and 10, 26-yard line for MJ Morris in Duke territory. Morris for Concepcion and threw it 2 steps in front of him, incomplete. I like the idea, though, for Robert Anai. That's your best player.
And Duke, not just sitting back, they bring a corner blitz from the top of the offense's right and nearly get home with a hit. In fact, I think MJ Morris ends up missing it. Should have shot the ball outside, but you know, Mike Elko calls that timeout frustrated. He's like, look, we're not done playing defense. Let's keep him out of the end zone.
Bring 4. Morris squeezes through and slides down. Puck. And we get an NC State timeout with 1:02 to go. I thought for a moment we had a penalty marker, but we did not.
Well, the official pulls it out of his pocket.
Right.
He pulls it out of his pocket, almost starts to throw it, and then as MJ Morris is down, just decides to put it back in his pocket. Which is many flags as we've had tonight. Look at that right there. The umpire pulls it out, ready to throw it like, yeah, maybe it's 24-3, and we're, oh gosh.
Michael Prowl. I know you don't program your Sunday nights with SVP, but I think you might want to think about seeing if you can negotiate that one into the Friday.
I mean, Brandon Johnson, even with like a little tap on the back, like, hey, you know I was getting held. Like, let's, like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing?
Oh, my goodness. So 3rd down and 4 with 1:02 to go. That's Concepcion in motion. Morris in trouble and sacked. That is R.J. Oben. And he waves the Wolfpack faithful goodbye with 50 seconds left. 5th sack of the night.
And fitting for just how this night has gone. Just a speed move. Good hands, and that was no contest. And
wow.
NC State typically got really good players in the offensive line. They're tough and competitive, but Duke has gotten the better of them tonight.
Here's Morris dancing a little now, slings it for the end zone and broken up. Al Blades came all the way across on a ball intended for Concepcion. Fewest points allowed to the Wolfpack by a Duke team since 1964. You know, they played annually from 1924 to 2003, except one year, 1945, on the heels of World War II. And then when division play came along, boy, did the Blue Devils and Wolfpack miss each other. This is the 5th meeting since 2003. The home team has won every time. And I think Henry Beelin's going to take a knee, and the Blue Devils are going to go to 5-1 and 2-0 in the ACC, Tim, with a very big game next Saturday at Doak Campbell.
A huge game next week, a huge win this week, playing with your backup quarterback. And I think that Mike Elko, and you think about the disappointment of the Notre Dame loss, heading into your bye week, not having your quarterback. The response by his football team was outstanding, and it should give them plenty of confidence going into what will be a huge matchup, and honestly, maybe the biggest game for this football team under Mike Elko to head to Tallahassee and play the number 4 team in the country.
2 weeks ago against Notre Dame was a big game, and one big game just leads to another next Saturday after this win tonight. Here's Taylor with the winning coach.
Coach, on this field a couple of weeks ago, a tough loss to Notre Dame. You come out of the bye week with a performance like this. What response did your team show you tonight?
Yeah, I think they showed a lot of grit. I think they showed a lot of toughness. Obviously, not having Riley, I think a lot of guys stepped up. Henry making his first start, doing enough to get us a win. And I thought our defense played outstanding tonight.
Yeah, we're going to talk defense first. They get the shine, holding the pack to just 3 points on an early field goal. What stood out to you about that unit's performance?
Yeah, just relentless. I think that those guys have a lot of pride in how we play defense here. Maybe a lot of talk about some other defenses tonight. This one can play, and can play really good football.
You mentioned your young quarterback, Henry Beelan, making the start for Riley Leonard. Numbers aren't staggering, but a win is a win. What can you say about what he did on this field?
Yeah, I thought he managed the game really well. Obviously, we got the big lead, and then that took the air out of the ball, and we were going to play it safe and play it to win. But, got a lot of confidence in him. I thought he did some nice things early. Obviously, the big touchdown pass that he hit was a big one, and I thought he made a couple other nice throws that we could have come down with, too.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
All right, Taylor, thanks. Boy, terrific coaching job by that guy and his staff, Tim.
Done a great job. Huge turnaround by this football program.
Yeah. Bigger game next Saturday for them in Tallahassee. Great to be with Tim and Taylor. Alex Farmatino produced, Bob Prataroli directed. Stay tuned. The ACC Huddle next.
Welcome into the ACC Huddle and welcome out to Durham, North Carolina, where this game has just gone final. A 24-3 win for the Duke Blue Devils. And how about what we saw from that guy, Jordan Waters, 123 yards and a touchdown. And then the quarterback tonight, the starter, Henry Beelan, the fourth, comes in, starts this game for Riley Leonard, who was ruled out during pregame today. Head coach Mike Elko has his team back on track after dropping that last game to Notre Dame. They move to 5-1 now, and they'll prepare to go on the road and take on Florida State next week. But a lot of smiles here because they've got plenty to be happy about because they got the win over NC State, 24-3 the final. Kelsey, EJ, Eddie, and EMAC hanging out with you guys. And Henry Beelan's got to feel pretty good. I know it had a lot to do with their defense, but EJ, walking off in your first career start and getting a win, what's that feel like?
Yeah, it feels great, and a huge relief off that young man's shoulders. Not a crazy game throwing the ball, but still did enough, like Coach said there, to make enough plays, didn't turn it over. Did have one early pick, but either way, won the game, and that's the most important thing. The guys around him also lit up. The defense was so stout tonight, only giving up 3 points as NC State offense. Excellent job and complimentary football by this Blue Devil team.
And that's exactly what we thought would happen, that everybody else would really step up, play for a high level for this team and for their quarterback, and that's exactly what they did. I mean, this defense, man, they are so good. Fast, physical, flying around, creating extra opportunities for their offense. And then, of course, the rushing attack, from Duke. Jordan Waters, I mean, he is a bad man. I mean, it's been so fun to watch. We saw it very early and often against Clemson here. Monday night, the three of us just sitting here, and he has continued each and every week to get better and better. So very impressed with what I saw from them. But just collectively, we said it, Kelsey, this is a good team. And that's what they showed tonight, Eddie.
Yeah, and just being able to stop the run for Duke. I mean, I thought that was huge. NC State needed to find the run game, and Duke stopped that portion of it. It was bad weather, so you knew throwing the ball was going to be tough on both sides. And so MJ Morris had a pretty good game, a couple turnovers against Marshall, but for the most part, he had a good day. So he was coming in confident, and his defense stepped up big, stopping the run. And, man, credit to them. Coach Elko's doing a heck of a job with those guys.
Yeah, and that front for Duke, too. I mean, they were so disruptive. We always talk about Dwayne Carter, but also Aaron Hall. You saw Oben there get a late sack in the game. If you want to win football games, it really does start in the trenches, whether it's on offense or defense, and Duke showed up in both areas tonight.
And to hold NC State to just those 3 points, MJ Morris, we know that he has a lot of talent. We know he can do a lot of good things. This offense still trying to find their rhythm. Let's show you how it all went down as the number 17 team in the country gets back on track and picks up another win in an ACC primetime and nighttime game. As we told you, Riley Leonard, he came out. He didn't have a boot on. He did have his ankle wrapped, but he was ruled out for this game. So that made Henry Beelan the fourth the guy. And it's tough when you start like that, EJ, to bounce back.
Yeah, it is tough, It's one interception. It's one play. The defense did a great job of getting a stop, at least holding the NC State offense to 3 points.
Then Beelan trying to bounce right back, and this is a great response.
They found the one-on-one matchup, ran a double move, great route by Jalen Calhoun, and then Beelan delivered a great ball.
His friend on the sidelines, Riley Leonard, looking on, liking what he sees, and I think all of Blue Devil fans liked what they saw on that one because it was a 69-yard score, the longest completion of the season for them. It's a 7-3 game, then 10-3. Picked off by Trey Freeman.
Yeah, just again, this defense is nasty. They're going to get their hands on the football, create extra opportunities for their offense, and they do not mind being physical.
How about this? Jeremiah Hasley steps in. He had one catch before this game, but he comes up with a touchdown there, 17-3, Duke in the lead. But why not get a little more? And you gotta pay attention to what Jordan Waters is doing, EJ.
Yeah, Jordan Waters getting through the gap and then having enough speed to take it all the way to the Cribbo. Huge touchdown there for that Duke Blue Devil offense.
83-yard touchdown. Duke leads it 24-3, late third quarter. NC State trying to get anything going. 3rd and 11. MJ Morris takes the snap, but he's brought down by Aeneas Pebbles there. Then, next play. NC State going for it. More trouble.
I mean, heck of a job bringing pressure, getting after MJ Morris all game long. That Duke defense really showed up tonight.
24-3 is the final. And how about Jordan Waters? Mentioned that he had over 100 yards. Also, 6 straight games with a rushing touchdown. So impressive what he has been able to do. And he caught up with our Taylor Tenenbaum.
Jordan Waters, a career night for you tonight. How much responsibility did you feel there in the backfield with a young quarterback in Henry Beelan making his first start?
Not a lot. Henry did pretty good. He practiced hard all week. He was ready and prepared, and he went out there and balled out, and I just did my job. That's it.
We were talking before we got on camera, and you said, I needed that in terms of that 83-yard touchdown run. What did you see on that first play in the third quarter?
We went into halftime, and Coach Elko seen something he liked, and we come out there and execute it, and I was just distant enough and then hit my hole, and then the rest is history.
When you're on the offensive side of the ball and you're watching the defense play the way they did, what does that do for your unit?
Oh, it's just energy. Them boys ballers, and we go against them every day in practice, and I think everybody else is now understand how good they can be.
You got a big matchup next week in Tallahassee against undefeated Florida State, but what did Duke say tonight before heading down south?
We're ready. We're going to go in there prepared, take care of our bodies this week, and go in there and handle business.
Great game, Jordan.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Great game and a great interview there from him. As Taylor mentioned, a career night with the 123 rushing yards and 6 straight rushing touchdown in a game. EMAC,
Can I first give my man credit for the braces? No, because I went through it. Y'all made fun of me being a grown man with braces. His teeth
Jordan
look
Cornette
good.
made fun of you. I ain't made fun of you.
Right. Jordan Waters.
I didn't even know he had braces.
Good. Respect for wearing the braces. I love it.
You had him on for like 2 weeks. Good.
Mine looked good too. That was quick.
His play looks even better. So what is it about his play that you like the most and that's so hard for teams to stop?
That he's physical and he has the speed after to be able to score like you said, EJ. But that offensive line does a great job opening up big holes. So can't give Jordan Waters credit without giving the offensive line credit as well.
No, I don't think there's any doubt about it, man. And these guys just ran the ball so effectively. Every running back, on the team here averaging over 4 yards a carry. Waters 9.5 a carry. I mean, that's a thing of beauty. And to see what Beelan can do with his legs, too, you have to think that role will expand if he's the guy next week, depending on what Riley's going to be able to do. Because that's a massive one, man. Yep. And to get the confidence here from your team, only put up 3 points. I mean, this defense, we can't talk enough about them. The speed, the physicality. And I keep referencing Monday night when we were here against Clemson. Those guys look like the better athletes.
Let me give you some numbers before you jump on.
I want to acknowledge something that Jordan Waters said there.
Okay.
He talked about already moving forward to the next week, preparing his body. And in fact, when we were here for our road show, we were working out that morning.
Right.
He was in there. He was doing some like soft tissue stuff there. Just you could tell the reason why he's having success is because he put the time in off the field as well. And it's great to see him reap the rewards.
Good point there. Before we move on, I want to talk a little bit more about this defense, y'all. They're allowing 9.8 points per game this season. They've allowed just 59 points this season, fewest through 6 games by an ACC team since 2015. We've had some great ACC defenses since 2015.
And I think even to stack on that further, outside of that Notre Dame game, there was only 1 touchdown that wasn't in like trash time. I mean, these guys are playing at such a high level. Again, next week's going to be fireworks. I mean, that could be a potential Do we see it twice, in Charlotte with FSU and Duke here? I know North Carolina's going to have something to say about that, but it's good ball. It's explosive ball. And the way that these guys rally to the football defensively, you can't give them enough credit for what they did so fast at
They
Duke.
harass you, man. It's just like one guy as a quarterback, you think you can move up, but then it's two other guys underlapping them, coming right in your so I think the big key for them is to continue to play defense like this, rally to the football, and get off the field on third down.
But then Trey Freeman, you got to give him a lot of credit. The leading tackler on their team came up with an interception today. It might have been the first of his career, so he's been playing well all year long. But a lot of the times, the defensive line gets the credit and the secondary does as well. So it's about time we gave Trey Freeman
I don't know
credit.
if you guys can see this behind us, but Henry Beelan is walking up, and I just see him waving across, probably to family or something, taking it all in. We'll talk to him just a second.
He looked tired.
He's like, hey, we did it. We did it. We'll get him in just a second, guys. But while he walks over and gets mic'd up, let's flip things over and talk NC State for a quick second. And MJ Morris, we've talked a lot about him, the expectations that we have for him. He faced a really tough defense. What does he need to take away from this game?
Well, again, it's two tough defenses in a row. I mean, Marshall, very good defense. Duke, again, the things that they've been able to do. They threw the ball 40 times and right over 50% completions. I still think that this NC State team just they've got to get better this offseason, whether it's developing at the wide receiver position. I know there's still a lot of time in the season, but the lack of separation is hurting them. The lack of wide receiver talent and depth is hurting them. Your best player, it's hard when it's a guy like Concepcion who probably is more comfortable in the slot, probably more comfortable as a number 2 guy, and he is by far and away having to be the number 1. And so it's just difficult. It's just difficult.
Yeah, stifling on third down. 4-15 on the day. Just not a clean performance. And early in the game, you thought, okay, when they get that earlier interception, that would get them going, get their juices flowing. But then they got stopped again for 3 points just for a field goal. And that's the only points they scored the entire night. So just not seeing it clean enough from NC State's offense.
It's just hard to win when you can't run the ball. And they couldn't do that at all. Concepcion was the leading rusher for a majority of the game. And so if your receiver's your leading rusher, that's bad on the running backs. So you wonder.
Well, it ended up being their quarterback that was their leading rusher after all, too.
Right. So you got to end up either revamping a receiving core, bringing in some help, and adding to the running backs room as well. So those skill position guys got to get better because you got to help your quarterback out.
Well, Emac, I want to touch on something, too, because, again, this is Robert Anae's offense. And maybe it didn't have, or this team doesn't have the personnel that he might have had at Syracuse or might have had at UVA when he had all those crazy years with success.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, when you look at that Virginia team, number 1 in 21, loaded with talent, loaded with dudes, and then at Syracuse, I mean, with Garrett Schrader and Aronde Gatson and the things that they were able to do. NC State does not have those guys right now. So, you got to go get in the portal, get recruiting, develop guys on the team further, and just make that happen. Because when you do have such a unique offense like they do now, if you don't have the pieces, it's just not going to work. I mean, it's hard to just trick everybody and do these different things. And you saw a very physical defense punch them right in the mouth today.
Wolfpack fall to 4-3 on the season. They have a bye week, and then they will get prepared for Clemson on the 28th.